I would ask my future self if mankind was able to cooperate with one another in order to avert the worst effects of global warming by the year 2050.
So Tony Iommi, the guitarist for Black Sabbath, the press comes down on his two fingers, his middle and ring finger. And in that moment, as he pulls back, he pulls the ends of his fingers off.
Contrary to all the other managers that would come on the air and they would say, let me tell you something. I'm the brain here, and I'm this, and I'm that. And Jimmy Hart was never spoke about himself. He always put the heat, he always put the importance on his proteges.
And that social and cultural climate is what gave birth to a lot of those genres. Look at the graffiti art that was on the trains when they were going by, the 7 train, the 6 train, the 4 train. Okay, these trains are now in museums.
For Secretary of State, I will go with JFK. And the reason I go with Kennedy is that Kennedy understood the international scene.
Reason why one should discuss financial matters and financial disparities, and that should be a focal point in romantic relationships, is that it tells your partner where your values lie.
I would want to talk to Ronald Reagan because he changed that decade more than any other person. I would ask Mr. Reagan, so how do you stay to your true north when the rest of the world is suddenly hating you?
This is where people who maybe feel a little behind the power curve in life can build a heroic character, and in the framework with rules can actually become heroes for a few hours, whether it's you play every day, every week, every month.
Most people have more of an inclination to play sports than they do to be more cerebral or whatever. And so I think a lot of people, I know I did, I thought I was going to be a professional athlete.
And then you had Family Matters, which had many seasons, which had a character that came out and was just so amazing, outstanding. It was only supposed to be in a couple episodes. His name was Urkel, Steve Urkel.
Talking about being one, all of us being one. An article in the New York Times, in the magazine section, it was about how we as humans don't just live on the earth, we are the earth.
So I'm a therapist, and nonverbal communication is a huge aspect of my job. It shows somebody that, you're listening. It shows somebody that you care about them. And a lot of people don't have somebody to listen to them.
So if you have a situation with another country and one country is succumbing to your power, what is in the cards that country might just say, forget it, and I'll just hit the button?
Sole purpose of him training Rocky, getting him back in shape, and getting him in the ring to defeat Clubber Lang was so Apollo could specifically challenge him at the end and get his win back.
to remind people of who
Stagecoach Mary Fields was that she was born a slave, and when she was 30 years old, that's when slavery was abolished, and she took straight off. I mean, she was out of there as quickly as she could be. Even left family behind, left her parents behind, left everybody behind.
What is good leadership? For me, it is selflessness. It is selflessness, and it's being able to reach in the dark and inspire someone when they are surrounded by fear and anxiety.
The Jungles and the Hanoi Hilton, and the things that man went through, firing squad, execution.
The Harley Davidson captures the mystique and the aura that is Americana.
Who indeed, guys and gals and pals, it's not Saturday night, it is Wednesday night, and as you guys know by now, this is the premiere edition of the Black Box, and you might be wondering what this show is all about. A lot of people are wondering, am I reinventing the wheel here as it pertains to what TKN is all about, what TKN programming is all about? I'm not, but I am going to let you guys know that one guarantee, and only one, will leave these lips. We're going to have a lot of fun, guys and gals and pals, and there will only be one, guys. Who wins this team challenge? I should say two, guys and gals and pals. Again, this is a sport of the mind, and I don't mind reminding you that every single Saturday night, the TKN Celebrity Tournament, right now, the second round is reaching its final lap. It's final lap. Round number 3 is upon us. Unfortunately, we've seen some eliminations in round number 2. But every participant, with the exception of one, who's in this team challenge is in round number 3 already. Round number 3 is upon us. Happy to say, guys and gals, quality human beings, not to mention 148 Hall of Famers for the world of sports, music, and wrestling, along with Olympians, Oscar, Grammy, Tony, Emmy, Golden Globe, AMA, and WGA award winners and nominees, all competing for the pride and the prize. But what else happens here? We have dignity. This is a positive place. I guarantee you, guys and gals and pals, this is a place where strangers leave as friends. This is a place where respect is given and earned. And no matter what happens, no matter who wins or loses, we all gain a lot from one another, because this is a place where we subscribe to conversation, not controversy. And again, we have a lot of philosophical fun while giving you endless edutainment. I'm going to zip the old lip right now, because what are the rules? What is the team challenge? I have a video, and if you watch the video, it'll explain to you what this team challenge is all about. Guys and gals and pals, I see you there. Eric, nice to see you. Kelly, nice to see you. Hello, Gus Galaxy. Nice to see you, good sir, as well. Jessica, glad you're supporting. Sure, why not? Guys, you're the engine that makes this thing go. So as you know, right now, it is time for the intro. The intro to introduce these magnificent human beings. You know, TKN hosts, Green Rumors, one thing they are is talented. Another thing they are is intelligent. But they're loyal, and they're passionate, and they're seasoned, and they're experienced, and they want to show the world right now, including our national sponsor, including that streaming service that once didn't quite believe what we were doing and now wants us to be under their umbrella. They're going to see what this talent is all about, what this pool is all about. And of course, the incredible luminaries who are much more than their resume, including this man. A warrior is not a person that carries a gun. The biggest war you ever go through is right between your own ears. It's in your mind. We're all going through some sort of war in our mind, and we have to visit our mind to fight that war and to win that war. Guys and gals and pals, our first participant of the evening knows that the comeback is greater than any setback. This is due in large part to the fact that even death could never stay his hand. As he gazed upon the cold vastness of space and he mused upon his life, he found that both are anything but empty. He's alive. He's here. His purpose is indeed quite relevant. The man is multifaceted, guys and gals and pals. And he was also, guys and gals, a historian, not just a fighter. This man could teach. It all began in the state of California, specifically Huntington Beach. His father was a lifelong football coach, and he played the sport as well when he attended Marina High School. But there was another sport in which he would have had no peer and truly shine like a king. He was drawn to the mat since he was 9 years old, watching his brother excel. The sport, I speak of wrestling. He continued wrestling in college, where he was one of the best and an NJCAA All-America in that sport. As many would find out, his determination and pride were absolute. He was a man that you cannot thwart, because if you did, your body he would contort, as you might wind up in pieces while they would transport you from the MMA ring to the airport. He attended California State University, Long Beach, where he graduated with a degree in history, something that speaks to me, as teaching that subject is as rewarding as honey to a bunch of zealous bees. In the bars, he would always deck those that didn't bring it correct, as they chose to bully others, which is something he could not ignore or neglect. He stood up for those without a voice. While working at a store to help pay for his college tuition, something in particular would occur. He noticed someone that was out of line, so he encountered this smart-ass customer. Guys and gals, one day he was reading a magazine at the store, and his attention was piqued when there was a little new attraction, a little something called the UFC. He applied to UFC 6, and as undefeated street fighter who could bench 600 pounds and knock out 4 men in his last brawl, it's safe to say that he more than qualified. There's plenty of video footage to indicate how his opponents were looking for some place to hide. But in the ring, with him, there was no escape. Heck, they applied, and they ought to go down to a story as classic as Bonnie and Clyde, because July 6, 1995, we're approaching 30 years, the world would become privy to a man that was there for the crown. He ran over the 400-pound Hawaiian fighter in 18 seconds as the poor guy went down. Next up was round 2 that night, where he further solidified his reputation by defeating Paul V with a ground and pound attack, along with knee strikes, as yet another opponent, guys and gals and pals, sat there in bewilderment, wondering who turned out the damn lights. With an honest time for the UFC. It was such an honest time. There were no judges, no time limits, and the tougher guy got the win and walked out. He made it to the finals, and after facing him, the eventual champ couldn't even stand. The audience gave him a hand, as they loved him for his authenticity and heart. His talent was quite grand. UFC 7 was next, where he had an easy win over Steve Genuine, the first round with a neck crank. Next up was the legendary Dan Severn, one of our own, but even Dan had trouble taking down this tank. You want a brief summary? Why not? He's a 2-time UFC tournament runner-up, a 3-time UFC semifinalist, a UFC heavyweight championship contender. He holds the record for most UFC tournaments, competed and won the viewer's choice way before there was a thing called social media trends, because in 1997, heck, he even co-starred on an episode of Friends. Wrestling fans had their fix, guys and gals. Why? They had their first glance. He was one of the top guys taking it to Goldberg, the Steiners, Sid, and hell, we found out he could even dance. He was featured in one of their video games, and even after that run, he continued to knock people out. Many would talk the walk, but could do nothing better in his presence than sit and pout. His resiliency and courage needs to be addressed, as he died 5 times on an operating table and had 6 strokes. For many, it would have been the end. Not for him. Thankfully, I consider him a good friend. 107 days in the ICU. And amid this turmoil, it was what he did that would raise many an eyelid, because he fought and survived the hardest fight of his life. So stand up and welcome a man people know as a tank. From Jersey to Madrid, a legendary, kind, humble human being. Last name Abbott, first name David. Welcome, my friend. Welcome, my friend, to the Black Box.
Thank you, Avi, for everything you say. And very accurate, and it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
100%, my friend. How do you feel?
Like I said, relatively speaking, I'm feeling pretty good today. I woke up, so it's all uphill from there. It's nothing bad you can say.
What do you think about this thing? Because, you know, I know that you're a guy that has helped a lot of people as far as those in need, those without a voice. People think of a UFC fighter. That's the resume. I'm talking to the writer over here, the author of books, the man who fought death and, you know, really appreciates life and really understands how fragile life can be. Now this is a team concept. You're in round 3 of the TKN Celebrity Tournament. That's kind of the granddaddy on Saturday nights. You're in round number 3 when that starts. But this new concept, it's a team challenge. What do you think about having a teammate in this tournament?
Well, you know, it's going to be interesting. I don't know what to expect, and that's always fun. And as I told you earlier, having fun is like one of the most important things you can do in this life, because you never know when you're not going to be here. That's true. And as long as I'm having fun, I got a smile on my face, and I'm laughing and having a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
What have you been thinking about TKN so far in this journey with me and the network and stuff? Have you been having fun, Tank?
Oh, absolutely. It's fun, and it's kind of forces you to be introspective and think about things that you otherwise wouldn't. And yeah, it opens your mind a little bit, makes you wonder ask yourself these questions. Like I've gone through some different things. I moved out here to Arizona, and I sit in my backyard and stare at the mountains all day, and ponder what the hell we're doing here. And you know what? You don't know. Like you just find out. So you might as well have fun doing it. I've come to the conclusion that everything's written, and just
kind of preordained, maybe, David.
Yeah, just as sure as me sitting here right now talking to you, it's somebody wrote it out some time ago, and I'm here just living it.
Well, I'll tell you what, David. Up until this year in 2025, whoever's writing this story out of our lives, nobody really liked the Knicks. I'll tell you that much. I was a Knicks fan, and nobody wrote their success. Damn it, Dave! I've been waiting 25 years to see them do what they're doing in the playoffs, but they're doing it. They're doing it.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I'll tell you what, man. Life, guys and gals, life is grand when you live in the present. That's why it's a gift. Mr. David Tank Abbott lives in the present, lives in the moment. I respect that.
Absolutely.
I told guys, and speaking of a man I respect, let's bring in his teammate. Our next participant is a man that I first met nearly 20 years ago. His positive energy is a delight. He can make a friend out of any foe. He's a dear friend and brother that I adore, and I'm elated to see him shine. Since 2004, his heart, passion, and kindness have been on full display. Says who? Well, yours truly, Avi Klein. Let's welcome a man who has talent, range, and skill. Come on down, my friend. Last name Justin, first name Phil. Welcome, my friend, to the Black Box.
Thank you. Great to be here. And I finally got one of those patented Avi intros.
Yeah.
I can die happy now.
Well, it's easy to write intros for you. I always say this. It's easy to write intros for you guys across the board because there's so much to say about you. I hate having to condense them, but I have to. But yeah, you're a stand-up guy. And when I thought of this team challenge, and guys, you're watching the Black Box Team Challenge Episode 1 every Wednesday live here. We're going to interact with you as well. No worries. But Phil, I thought of you and I thought of Tank. I know that you guys are going to not only do well in this field, but even get to know one another. You guys have a lot of similarities, both very down-to-earth people, both people that keep it real all the time. Phil, anything you'd like to tell David?
I'm really excited to be partnered with you. I think we're going to do well. I think we have a kindred spirit. And take no prisoners, my brother.
Yes, I happen to agree with every word you say. No prisoners.
I like
All
that.
right.
I like that. Guys, trust me, the prize is really actually cool. It has to do with people think that it's kind of like the 15 grand and 5-day trip to Greece. Now, this tournament, it's different. It has a lot to do with a particular studio. I can't get into any more than that, but it's going to be an awesome prize for the team that wins this thing. Absolutely. Guys and gals and pals, I want to bring in their opponents for the evening. This is a sport of the mind, but remember, your votes, at the end of the day, we respect each other. But when the bell goes off, hey, Phil and Tank, they can rebut their opponents. They could do that. Little index finger goes up, I pop up, I make that rebuttal official. We might see a bit of that. Why not? It's going to be a very fun. We're going to show the talking heads how we can debate over here in a civil fashion. We can still be passionate, but at the end of the day, respect. That's what it's all about. It starts and ends with respect. Guys and gals and pals, I respect our next participant right now. So let me bring him in right about now, guys and gals and pals. And of course, guys, thank you for watching. Share this show with everybody else. In a short time, in about a year plus, we're already right now sitting at close to 4 million views. We appreciate that. Guys, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. And I think the true secret of happiness lies in taking a genuine interest in all the details of daily life. And these sentiments all apply when speaking of our next participant, because to know him is to see his heart. In a world filled with questions, it's quite comforting to know that there are simple answers when it comes to certain people. For instance, this man's honesty, his integrity, his word, his passion and compassion. There are no questions when it comes to all the above because he's a quality human being. He's a class act and he has a heart of gold. His father was his hero and he experienced something unique when he was just 11 years old. He accompanied his father, who had a broken tibia, to the ring against Tarzan Taylor, but even as a youngster, he sold. Imagine being privy to your father. Grudge matches against Abdul the Butcher, a dastardly heel who in the ring would bring the doom and gloom, only to find out that he's chatting it up with your dad in your house in some other room. This is due to the fact that this participant, guys and gals and pals, grew up part of pro wrestling royalty. 4 generations of legends that started with his great uncle. How about that for loyalty? At 17 years old, despite his father not being receptive, he asked his mom for $350 and went to Calgary to train for Stampede. The territories awaited, so in 78, he went somewhere that required speed. But indeed, his father would not have agreed. Louis Larams suggested that he wrestle in Mexico. The altitude and language barrier were challenges, but it helped him get into great shape, and he learned to do his infamous backflip. As athletic as he was just as entertaining on the mic with a quip. On-air showmanship. Yet he maintained his honesty and would always shoot from the hip. Georgia, Alabama, Memphis, all stops where he would come, guys and gals, and hone his craft as he would continue to excel. Whether it was his brother Armand or Raymond, he would gel with just about anyone and go bell to bell with athletic stories in the ring, which were quite the stories he would tell as he would help others propel. In '85, the WWF came calling during their heyday. For nearly a decade, he would become a top talent there, definitely a mainstay. We won the IC title from the great Bret the Hitman Hart. He always knew how to reinvent himself and have a clean start. Legendary feuds with the Boss Man, including a storyline stint at an NYC jail. Later on, he and his partner Carl would win the tag titles 3 times as they always seemed to prevail. Around the time we remember him in WCW, he would do what only a handful of people did in history. He pinned Hulk Hogan clean in the Molson Center. The reason for this is no mystery. It's because he's a class act, and he and his family are so respectful, and that is well deserved. Let's not forget something that many who have seen this man behind the persona have personally observed. He's helped many kids, as his fight against bullying and discrimination is one reason why he's an absolute gift. Let's all put our hands together and give him the lift. And let's take our time. No need to shift. His courage is consistent. You can rely on it like a Rick Barry free throw. Helping kids who've been bullied in his canvas, more beautiful than any Van Gogh. Guys and gals, he's in the 3rd round of this star-studded tournament where he'll be sure to bring the gusto. He's a friend that I appreciate truly, as his class is something he will always bestow. He is sincere and genuine and can make you laugh like a mid-90s Ray Romano. They know his name around this world from Glasgow to Monaco to Kosovo to Moscow. Even in the wintertime, his smile can melt the snow. So why don't you all grab a gyro and a glass of Merlot? That may not be a good combo, but hey, regardless, I can tell you that you're all feeling quite gun-ho, as his impact is quite the presence, like Arnold kicking butt in Commando. Who am I bringing out? Guys and gals, the mystery's no history. In a second, you'll know. You all might have figured it out. This isn't a whodunit like Hitchcock's Vertigo, so get up and enjoy the ride. Like a Texan in a rodeo, have you put the pieces together and figured it out like a common game of dominoes? All the love to overflow as this Scorpio welcomes back a legend of a human being. First name Jacques. Last name Rougeau. Welcome to the Black Box, my friend.
Oh.
First name Jacques. Last name Rougeau. Welcome to the Black Box, my friend.
I can't believe it.
How are you, my friend?
I can't believe it. Avi, I'm having technical problems. I'm so embarrassed. I'm having technical problems.
That's okay, Jacques. Technical problems can happen. Guys, Jacques is here. Jacques, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to try to see if on my end we can get this thing out. Jacques, how about now? Can you hear us? Now, Jacques, if anything else is open, you might want to close it.
I can hear you on my phone. It's so funny. I have my phone.
I think we need to close the phone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's just something's wrong. Something's wrong because on my phone I could hear you, but on YouTube I could hear you when I watch the show like I do every week when I watch you guys. But when I'm on here, I can't communicate. You sound like a bunch of robots.
If you just stay on StreamYard and if you mute YouTube, you can exit YouTube out. You can close YouTube completely.
I'm so embarrassed.
That's okay. That's okay. Guys and gals and pals, I'm going to talk to Jacques backstage. We'll get this worked out like we did earlier. Not a big deal. Right now, guys and gals, Jacques, I'm going to put you backstage. Don't go anywhere, my friend. I want to bring in our next participant, but before I do that, Phil and Tank, if you guys can take it away, I'm going to go backstage for a minute. Anything you guys want to talk about, feel free. Now, Phil, I do know this. I do know that Tank used to ride as well, right, Tank? You're a motorcycle enthusiast.
Yeah, me and my wife rode around the nation on my bike.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was a fun time. Actually.
What did you have?
A Road King, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
sweet.
We just decided to go on a 2-day trip up to San Luis Obispo. And
nice.
We ended up going all the way around the nation. She's from Connecticut, New Haven.
Right up the road from me.
Yeah, in New Haven. So we ended up.
I have relatives in New Haven.
Yeah. She was. Anyway, so we ended up going out there and up to Maine, and then all the way down to Florida, and then all the way back. It was quite the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, 33 states and 10,000 miles. We just all decided it was just going to be like a 2-day trip, and that's what it ended up being.
Yeah. Well, you know, we bikers say it's not the destination; it's the journey.
Oh, absolutely. It was a good time, actually. Very
Oh
fun.
yeah. That sounds like it. Right now, I'm riding a 2000 Heritage Softail.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Her name is
so,
Jessica.
yeah, so so I've done some riding, but not anymore after I got sick. Actually, we went down one time on the freeway,
Mm.
and that wasn't too fun. Luckily, I just got some road rash and she just got a scrape on her foot, but I ended up pulling her off to the side of the road. But that was a tire blew out on us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've unfortunately had my share of hitting the pavement.
Yeah, that was the end of our riding at that point in time.
Now,
But
question to both of you: have you guys got a chance to go to Sturgis yet in your life?
No.
we went, but it wasn't during the bike week.
Gotcha.
And we didn't see anything because it was all fogged
Now,
in.
to those, David, who are motorcycle enthusiasts, and Phil, is that sort of a bucket list thing for motorcycle enthusiasts to do Sturgis or no?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
Sturgis, there's Daytona, there's Myrtle Beach, there's Lake George. You know, there's a few.
Hi, Jacques. Can you hear us, my friend?
I can't hear you.
All right, guys, we are live. We're going to
Can
get
you
this
hear
thing
us?
fixed.
Can you hear me?
Huh?
Phil backstage.
Can you hear me?
David, I think I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear you, David.
Can you hear me,
All right,
Jacques?
there you go.
I hear you, Avi.
Perfect. Now, Jacques, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you backstage for a moment, and just give me a thumbs up if you could hear everybody. I'll put you backstage. Don't sign out. Let's bring in Phil. All right. Now, let's Phil, if you could talk. Jacques will give us a thumbs up if he could hear you.
Okay, Jacques, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
And
we're good. We're good to
all
go.
right. Good.
Mr. Rougeau, welcome to the Black Box, my friend.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully we could do this and make this happen.
Absolutely. I think you can hear us now well, my friend.
I hear you, Avi.
Can you hear
Great.
me?
I hear you, David.
There we go.
Good.
There we
We're
go.
We're rolling.
How about this? We can say hi to Ed Hauser watching us. Adolfo Diaz, thank you for watching us as well. Eric, thank you for watching us, guys and gals. We're live. It's our first time doing this show on a Wednesday night with this format. Thank you. No, Will. Thank you so much, Will. I'm surrounded by a lot of great people here like Jacques and David. They bring the best out of me, and so do you guys. So thank you. And with that, let's bring in our next participant right now, Mr. Tank Abbott. For technical purposes, I'm going to put you backstage for a moment and bring you right back in.
I'll be there.
Thank you, my friend. Jacques, I want to introduce you to your teammate right now. I think you can hear me well, my friend. If you can't, let me know.
Yes, I can.
Guys and gals and pals, Jacques has been on the show many a times. One of the most delightful professionals you can ever talk to. He cares about you fans. So does David. So keep commenting and let him know how much he means to you, because, again, this is a man that during conventions will stand tall and welcome you and invite you over to hear your stories and what life's all about. Guys and gals and pals, what it's all about right now is his teammate for this particular tournament. Dear Diary, I speak of the word greatness and revel in its glory. Are we exposed to such greatness through hearsay, fable, or an amazing story? Nope. I've seen beautiful in the form of a man that once portrayed 4 characters under this umbrella, for goodness sake. If you overlooked his perseverance, you might sob on Ricky Lake. His stamina and timeless energy can eliminate the dreary and the gray, because he can outlast any marathon, any party, and even an overbearing holiday. His talent is noticeable upon first glance. This man can sing, tell stories, and even dance. He drives me nuts sometimes, but the man has a beautiful heart. In case you haven't noticed, he's been here from the very start. So take notice, everyone, of his excellence and presence. You heard? As I welcome in the one and only Howard. Welcome, Mr. Collado.
Oh, man. I popped. And I'm sure you know why I popped. I am excited to be here.
Well, you're always here, like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even those holidays. You're always here, my friend, all the time. Absolutely.
Grateful to be here.
Appreciate you. Howard, your teammate, Mr. Jacques Rougeau.
Yeah, man, Jacques. It's Avi coined this the Dominican-Canadian
connection.
Howard, I'm going to be the biggest embarrassment you've ever had in your whole life, because you since you just came in, it started breaking up again.
Guys, we can't hear Howard Collado. Let me put Howard backstage right now. Jacques, can you hear me, my friend?
I'm so mad, Avi, because I wanted so much to do this with Howard. You have no idea. I promoted it all day on my Facebook and everywhere.
No, you did. You did, my friend. Tech happens.
And now everybody's going to be watching me look like a fool.
Well, here's what we're going to do, Jacques. I'll tell you what we're going to do. If this persists, if the issue persists, you can tag one of the TKN hosts, and they could kind of fill in if you'd like. We'll see if this clears up, though. We'll try
and you
one
know
more
what?
time.
Abby, if you have somebody else to take my place tonight, please do. And we'll try to make this work, in a better time, because it's the time I'm here. I'm going to watch the show. I'm going to sit back here, and I'm going to watch the show, because when I go on YouTube, I could see the show. But
Now, Jacques, here's the thing. If you pick somebody now to replace you just for tonight, essentially, here's how it works. If your team loses, they're not out. It's kind of like sports where there's a regular season.
Okay.
And if you lose, it's 0-1 in the standings. So if you're going to pick someone, I'm sure you're going to want to give a pep talk maybe. Hey, win this for the team. Because, guys, if you step in for Jacques, he's going to come back. It's going to reflect in his team standings. So let's see how it goes. We'll try
Abby,
Howard.
Abby, can I choose somebody?
Yes.
I want Howard to tag team tonight with you, Abby.
With me?
Yes.
Oh, my.
I want you. You're the best around.
No, I'll tell you. I appreciate that. But I'll tell you what, Jacques, I'll bring and thank you for the kind words. You're the best. I'm going to bring in Howard and see right now if it works. One more time. Let's just see. Howard, can you please talk to Mr. Rougeau?
Jacques, can you hear me? Jacques.
I can hear you, Howard. I can hear you now. So far, so good so far.
So far, so
All right.
good? All right.
So-
I think the less people on screen.
Okay.
What's that?
Testing.
You can't hear Howard now?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if he can hear Phil. Phil?
Hello, Jacques.
Hello,
Can you
Phil.
hear
How
me?
are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you?
Well, now you're starting to break up. So there must be a technical problem between Canada and United States.
Probably is. Probably is. But Jacques, let me ask you this. Maybe if you'd like, since you're listening backstage, maybe in the comment section you could be one of our judges tonight if that works for you.
I'm definitely gonna watch the whole show. I'm gonna sit here. I
That's
want to see
perfect.
first of all who takes my place and who
Here we
posts
go.
for me, and I'm gonna be watching. You'll see my comments going down. So
I love
I'll vote for my team for sure.
Your comments are always amazing. And Natalie, same to you, my friend. I'm going to bring in right now some possibilities to fill in for Jacques. Will it be Joe? Will it be Giselle? Will it be Miranda? So, Jacques, who do you want to fill in for you tonight?
You know I'm in love with Giselle, so I gotta go with Giselle.
Giselle's going to fill in. You may go for Mr. Abbott. Of course, Giselle, I know you got two tap talk in the tournament.
Just because she speaks French.
Très petit peu.
There we go.
So I'll go in the comments now, and I'm going to follow you guys. Good luck, everybody. Have a great
Thank
show.
you,
I'll
Jacques.
be watching from the outside.
We appreciate you.
man.
Thank you. Jacques Rougeau, guys and gals, again, hey, listen, what a team sport. He's picked Giselle to fill in. Mr. Tank Abbott, let me pull you up on screen. Phil Justin and Howard as well. Guys, I'm going to get started with this thing. And again, Jacques, it happens. Don't worry. It happens. Tech stuff happens. It's happened to me as well. Happens to everyone. No worries there. Guys,
Yep.
I'm going to explain this tournament right now with a very, very brief video. This is the rules, guys and gals, for this particular tournament. I'm going to keep David Tank Abbott on screen. Phil, Giselle, Miranda, Joe, Howard, the whole gang. I hope you guys enjoy. Listen to this because, of course, you're in this tournament. Here are the rules for this tournament. Guys and gals and pals, welcome to the premiere episode of the Black Box Team Challenge. For those of you familiar with the most star-studded tournament of them all on Saturday nights, known as the TKN Celebrity Tournament, where 1 out of 148 Hall of Famers from the world of sports, music, wrestling, not to mention Olympians, Oscar, Grammy, Tony, Emmy, Golden Globe, AMA, and WJ award winners and nominees are all competing for the pride and the prize. You're all familiar with that, aren't you? But now, what do we have before you? I have something that I created most recently that I'm sharing with you called the Team Challenge. You see, guys and gals and pals, I figured this would be a great way to explain what this show is all about. The premise, if you will. Because as you know, this isn't a podcast and I'm not an interviewer. This is an event. And I'm a conversationalist. And this is a place where strangers leave us friends while we have philosophical fun and provide you with endless edutainment. That's right, that's entertainment plus education. When they marry each other, what do you get? You get TKN and you get edutainment across the board. Guys and gals and pals, I am proud to tell you that this tournament is going to be a bit different than the one you're accustomed to on Saturday night. Right now, our new network YouTube channel, 3.8 million views in just a bit over a year. You can check out that on your own. And of course, guys and gals, over 78,000 subscribers. 2,000 subscribers these last 5 days has been amazing. Thank you all for being who you are. Also, of course, our national sponsor, Progresso. We are kicking butt and taking names, all because of you. We are proving that positivity can truly reign supreme. So, guys, I'm going to zip the old lip in a minute, but first, I have to explain the rules to you. This tournament is going to feature 10 teams of 2. That's right, 10 teams of 2. Each team is going to be represented by one luminary, a pro wrestler, a film and TV star, a musician, someone who's reached that level of success. And that person will be teaming up with an up-and-coming talent, a green room talent, and a TKN host. We see the TKN hosts, and they are here every single day, guys and gals and pals, and they are smart, they are talented, they are charismatic, and they're going to be teaming up with one of the legends that are part of the TKN Celebrity Tournament. So this is a mini tournament, but it will not, I repeat, will not look or sound or smell the same as Saturday night. I am not reinventing the wheel, but let me remind you that the rules are a bit different. First off, for those sports fans out there who are privy to regular season standings, that is what this is going to be initially. You see, every Wednesday night, one team will face another. It'll be one matchup per Wednesday, consisting of 2 teammates. And the way it's going to work is quite simple. I will present different categories. Each of the participants on that given evening will select a category that they would like. Once they select the category, I will read their topic. But before we get into that, let me remind you that if a team loses on a particular Wednesday night for the next couple of months, they will not, I repeat, will not be eliminated. The loss will simply be reflected in the standings, as will a win. Once 25 to 30 matchups have been essentially behind us, once a team has already had 25 matchups, perhaps even 30, we will then go to the playoff round. That's the elimination round. And once we get to the playoff round, not all the teams will qualify for the playoffs. 8 out of 10 teams will qualify, at which point the number 1 seed faces the number 8 seed, the number 2 seed faces the number 7 seed, the 3 seed faces the 6 seed, and the 4 seed faces the 5, while the number 9 and 10 seeds are out and eliminated. The prize is quite grand. I haven't revealed it yet, but I think you guys and gals and pals know that when I say there's a good prize, there is a great prize here. So what will the prize be? Even the participants don't know. The way it's going to work? Well, again, the categories, they will always be different. The topics will always be different as well. But unlike the TKN Celebrity Tournament, this is a team, which means you can tag out. So if you are presenting in the middle of your speech and you feel as if you either can't go anymore or you're stuck, you can tag your partner. They'll be backstage listening to you, and they'll pop up on screen and they'll pick up where you left off. Now remember, your opponents can rebut you. All they have to do is lift the old index finger up, and they will rebut you. Why is this important? Because you will be on screen with them. That's right, they'll be on screen while you're presenting. So when the pressure mounts, will you be able to rise above the pressure? When 2, not 1, but 2 of your opponents are on screen. Now, they won't say anything unless they're ready to rebut. Once they're ready to rebut, they lift their index finger up, they wait for me, I show up and make it official. If you want to tag your partner in, index finger goes up, and I will pop your partner back in. But if your partner wants to tag in, they could do so. Only I can see them backstage, and if I see their index finger raised, I'll bring them up, and they will be tagged in automatically. This means that the dynamic, the chemistry, the ability to listen and watch your teammate, listening to them, picking up on their level of stress, perhaps, or their level of confidence, all of that will be noticeable, and it will also be very apparent. So guys and gals and pals, with that being said, right now, I turn it over to Mr. Avi Klein. That's me. Hey. Oh, hey, Avi. I turn it to Avi Klein, who will be here right now, live, guys and gals, as he will be introducing all of our participants. Take it away, Mr. Klein. Oh, so fine. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Avi. Guys and gals and pals. Man, that Avi. Guys and gals and pals, right now you're looking at this incredible team. Everyone has their own teammate. Joe has Dr. Fink. Miranda, the great Sidney Pickett. Giselle has former NBA owner and, of course, GM Pete Babcock. Howard and Jacques Rougeau and Phil and David Tank Abbott. Not here tonight, of course. Stevie Ray and JW. We got some mystery participants as well. Kelly White, guys and gals, has Mr. Robert Schaefer. 10 teams in total. It's going to be a blast. Pete has Jeremy London and, of course, Jason London, film and TV great with Hauser. So, guys, here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to start things off with our categories. The way it's going to work is I'm going to present categories to Tank, Phil, Howard, and Giselle. They will pick the category that they want. Here are the categories available for tonight, and I will then give them their topic. Thank you, Avi. Appreciate that. Guys and gals and pals, here are the categories for tonight's inaugural edition of the Black Box Team Challenge. United States Historical Figures. Canada's Finest. Pro Wrestling. The UFC. Music. Improv. And philosophy. Coming up next week, we'll also add cinema and sports. Now, I've taken my time to conceive these not only categories but topics. I've written 2 topics per category, so a lot of writing. And once a participant selects their category, I will read their topic. Guys and gals and pals, enjoy, sit back, and let yourself be as edutained as possible. There we go. Those are the topics. Now, Miranda, of course, you're going to be one of our judges. Guys, in the comment section, we need you. So please, again, it's our debut edition. Again, Saturday nights. We appreciate all of you guys and pals watching. We're happy to say, again, close to 80,000 people watched that episode last Saturday. We're averaging between 70 to 75,000 per Saturday. Thank you again for showing your love. Let's make Wednesday night what Saturday night has already become. So again, stay engaged, stay focused. This is a tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can vote, and by voting, you mean you're telling somebody on screen who presented that they resonated with you. It's a good thing over here. It's a positive thing. Voting is good, unlike what it is out there. So, guys, here we go right now. Miranda's going to be one of our judges. Joe's going to be one of our judges as well. Let's put them backstage. All right, guys, and let's keep Mr. David Abbott on screen. Let's keep Giselle and Howard. Now, Giselle, of course, is filling in for Jacques Rougeau just for tonight and tonight only, but this will, of course, reflect in the standings. I am going to ask you all to pick a number between 1 to 10. Giselle.
3.
David.
5.
It was 5, guys. David gets to go first. His team gets to go first, unless they want to go second. So I'm going to ask David, would you guys like to go first or second?
I wouldn't go second.
Second, gotcha.
Good call.
That's good. Get to listen first. But first, here, you can pick the topics here. So again, the categories, David, are historical figures, United States historical figures, Canada's Finest, pro wrestling, UFC, music, improv, or philosophy. What would you like to pick, my friend?
Oh, wow. I was going to say, I'm going to go with the obvious and go with the UFC.
UFC it is, no problem. Phil, what category are you selecting?
Give me the music.
You got music. So here I'm going to give David his topic because once he receives it, he can go backstage and kind of work out that topic in his head a little bit while Giselle and Howard tackle their first topic. Now, again, when I put you backstage, David, and you, Phil, if you're listening to Howard and Giselle and you want to rebut them, you can. When you go back on screen, you will be between them. So essentially, Howard will go first. That means you'll be on screen. You'll be able to rebut them anytime you want by putting the index finger. 1 rebuttal per person. It's not mandatory, but if you choose to rebut, 1 rebuttal per person. Okay, guys, right now I'm going to read David his first UFC topic. And David, if you want, you can take your time with this topic. See, guys, the early UFC in the 90s differed significantly from the modern UFC in several ways. The original UFC had an emphasis on showcasing different martial arts styles. Minimal rules has been seen by some as more raw and exciting, while the modern UFC is more structured. It has an emphasis on mixed martial arts as a specific style. and that might have its own appeal. But for the sake of this topic, David, an overall theme of this show, I'm going to simplify things for everybody here, the audience. Let's sell the audience, David, on what you think was better about the UFC. Competitively speaking, why was the UFC better in the 90s? Competitively speaking, why do you think it was better? The opposing party, either Giselle or Howard, is going to make a case for why modern-day UFC is vastly superior to the bygone era of the 90s UFC. Howard and Giselle, who will be opposing David on this topic? Howard Collado will. Howard Collado will. Great. So, Dave, that's the topic. Please make a case. Once it's your turn, make a case for why you think the UFC of the 90s was far superior to today. Phil, here's your music topic. Are you ready to go?
Hit me.
Okay. Guys and gals and pals, music. In this particular topic I have for Phil, it's all about advertisements. Because let's be honest, life without music wouldn't be quite the same. People say music and advertising isn't just background noise. It's an important component that can shape how you feel about a brand. An unexpected choice in music in an ad can make your head turn, can make your ears prick up. But it's also important to consider that using the wrong music can distract from the band's message and undermine the effectiveness of the ad. So, guys, with that, Phil, please make a case as to why ad campaigns can dilute the overall message in a song. The opposing party will go the other way, Giselle. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You are going to go the other way. I'll read it again when it's your turn. Giselle, pick your topic. Pick your category.
Goodness. Oh, gosh.
We have improv, music, philosophy, pro wrestling, historical figures of the United States, or Canada's finest. What are we going with, Giselle?
Hey, historical figures.
Historical figures, Howard?
My topic will be music as well.
Music. So, Howard, I'll get to you last, but Giselle, here's your historical figure topic, if you are ready.
Yes.
Okay, here is the topic that I have for you. Giselle, in October 25th, 83, the U.S. wanted an opportunity to reinvigorate its image as a communist-stopping powerhouse. Did it take advantage of Grenada to do so? I'm going to go back to 78. There was a small Caribbean nation of Grenada, and it underwent a communist revolution that instilled a socialist government in the form of British colony. 4 years later, the U.S. intervened, militarily speaking, to depose a new communist leader. Although the administration of Ronald Reagan argued that the intervention was to protect American students at the island's medical school, critics argue that it was a Cold War power play intended to deprive Cuba and the Soviet Union of additional base operations in the Western Hemisphere. Was this decision, Giselle, of Reagan's beneficial to the U.S., or was this a self-serving power play on his behalf that was meant to restore the almighty reputation of the U.S. president, something that was lacking from 63 to 80? Who is going to oppose Giselle on this, Phil or David?
What do you think, David?
I'll let you tackle that, Phil.
Phil, you're going to tackle that one. Okay, you're going to tackle that one. That means David's going to tackle Howard's. Howard, here's your topic for music. Are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, here's the question I have for you. Joe Garcia, he heard about Taylor Swift in the late 2000s. Joe Garcia was awaiting trial on murder charges. He wasn't impressed with her music, but after listening to her and a few prison transfers later, he credits her music with helping him get through his life sentence. Some argue that music access can be a form of rehabilitation. Others express concerns about risks, security-wise, and the potential for certain genres to be harmful. Some argue that certain music can reinforce negative behaviors. So the question I have for you, Howard, should prisoners have access to music, or should it not be permitted? Are you going to go, yes, they should, or no, they shouldn't?
I'm going to go with yes, they should.
Yes, they should. Mr. Abbott's going to have to go the other way. That's how we're going to start. Guys and gals and pals, right now, I'm going to keep either Howard or Giselle. You guys are going to go first. Pick between the two of you. Who is going first? Who's presenting?
Howard is.
Yep.
Howard's presenting. I'm putting Giselle backstage. Howard, you're going to be in between Phil and David. If they want to rebut you, they can. It's up to them. All they have to do is lift the index finger while you're speaking, and I will pop in and make it official. Howard, I'm going to read you your first topic.
Okay.
And of course, when you're finished, David is going to counter-argue your topic. Howard, again, music for all is this topic. Should prisoners have access to music, or should it not be permitted? Howard, I'm going to put you backstage for a moment to gather your thoughts. I'm going to talk to Phil and David about this particular topic. David, are you a fan of music? Is there a particular group or singers that you're a fan of, my friend?
No, I like it all. I'm not into one genre whatsoever. I listen to everything.
What got you through sometimes either a workout or a rough day or even writing? Was there anything that spoke to you that when you were kind of creatively, I guess, in the zone?
No, I not necessarily go there. I use more music as an escape.
Sure.
Something to get my mind off of something and get into the music, and kind of like a Zen kind of thing, kind of try to think of nothing, and what a good song or something comes on. Maybe it transfers you away to a specific time and place or something, but not necessarily something that you necessarily triggers something or goes to a specific situation. It's more of an escape for me, music is.
Sure. I'm going to try to guess. I could be off here, David. The Boss, Springsteen?
No, punk rock when I was a kid.
I'm going to go Ramones.
No, like Sex Pistols, that kind of stuff.
Sex Pistols, very cool, very cool.
The Ramones, that kind of stuff, way back when. But
we just lost Johansson. Johansson just passed away.
David Joe.
Yeah.
David Johansson. Yeah.
And and then like now I can kick back and listen to Frank Sinatra, that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Joe. Guys, we see you in the comment section. You'll be voting as well. I'm going to bring in right now. Again, this is what we do here on Wednesdays. It's much more fun in the sense that you don't have to really prepare as much. You give it your best. Not many can do this. And Tank is, and Phil is, and Howard and Giselle. Not many could do this live. Of course, guys and gals, Jacques going to be back as well. No issues there. Let's bring in Howard Collado right now. Howard, I'm going to bring you in to make your case, make your argument. If at any point, David and Phil, you want to interject, old index finger goes up, I pop in, I make it official. You could rebut Howard. When Howard is finished, he's going to cue me in, and then David will counter-argue Howard's point. Howard, the floor is yours in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
Okay, first and foremost, there are several reasons and several benefits that prisoners will have as a result of being able to listen to music. First and foremost, their mental health is made better. Their emotional well-being. Some of these prisoners have very chaotic inner worlds, which possibly could have contributed to their particular criminal action. When they listen to music, it's going to make sure that it helps them with their well-being, their emotional well-being. Just as normal people, we're stressed, right? Just through our own course of just through the basic day, right? We get stressed. Music for prisoners will also help them with stress relief, right? It could reduce their anxiety. It could reduce depression. For example, you put on a very beautiful Beatles song. You could put on, Julia. It's a beautiful song about his mother. Really gentle guitars in that. It's a very beautiful melody. Imagine putting that on and, feeling relaxed already as a result. So stress relief. Music also helps you process emotions. Sometimes there's a lot of perhaps anger or frustration or resentment. I know personally, as someone who's dealt with a lot of anger and personal resentment, when I listen to heavier forms of music, those forms, for example, heavy metal helps me be able to confront those emotions and look at those emotions and allow me to reflect on what those emotions are. Music can help prisoners reflect. So why are they in prison in the first place, right? Because they created some criminal act. And a jury of their peers, made a decision and placed them in that prison. So they have what? Time to reflect. And yes, journaling is great. Sometimes those prisoners come in with addiction behaviors. And, I'm sure there's a lot of amazing AA groups that also go into prisons. But lastly, something that's even more immediate than those things is music. Music can help prisoners reflect on their past actions, right? There's a lot of songs that talk about, the ups and downs of life, the turbulence of life. When you are just sitting there in your cell and you're listening to these songs and looking at these and listening to these lyrics, it only induce a certain degree of reflection, help them reflect about their past actions.
Bill will be rebutting Howard.
Thank you. Who's going to choose the music? Because there is a lot of music, yes, that can soothe you and relieve stress, but a lot of music brings out aggression. For instance, gangster rap. Are you going to play gangster rap in a prison? Don't you think that would be very counterproductive? So who would choose the music?
Well, who will choose the music? I think you would have to take that on a case-to-case basis. If you know that someone has a particular violent behavior, let's just say, yes, they were into, robbing up stores. I do believe that they should have the option of listening to that music, but there should also be some kind of dialogue, a conversation with whoever's going to give them the access to that music. Because, okay, if you're talking about gangster rap, Phil, no one just wakes up and decides, I'm going to be a gangster. If you really listen to a lot of those lyrics, all right, for example, if you listen to DMX didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a gangster. He talks about, living in a really tough environment where he didn't have any parental guidance, where he didn't have any money, where he didn't have a home to lay in. So that environment created his behavior. That in and of itself can become a conversation to a prisoner. Hey, look at DMX. He had a really tough life. He was able to kind of turn that around and create art. Because what is gangster rap at the end of the day? It is art.
60-second warning, Howard. 60-second.
Sure. So in conclusion, I do believe that prisoners should be able to listen to music because it becomes a integral part of their rehabilitation, and it's immediate, and the access is right there.
All right, appreciate you presenting. Absolutely, no doubt about that, Howard. Guys and gals and pals, of course, now Mr. David Tank Abbott, the opposing viewpoint. Any way you'd like. There's no right or wrong answer, my friend. Just an opposing viewpoint, maybe a different perspective, perhaps. Guys, the great thing about this topic, again, no research. A lot of it could be based on opinion. A lot of it can be somebody's perspective. And thank you guys. As you can see, 1,800 plus watching right now. Thank you, guys and gals, 1,800 strong watching us live on Wednesday nights. My friend Tank Abbott, I'll read you the same topic Howard had again. Should prisoners have access to music or should it not be permitted? This was Howard's topic. He said, yeah, it should be permitted. If you can, maybe just give us a different take, my friend. Howard, you can rebut if you'd like. The floor is yours, Mr. Abbott. Whenever you're ready to go, good sir.
Well, you're locked up for a reason, and depends on your paradigm and what you think about rehabilitating. Are you in there to rehabilitate somebody? Or are you punishing them? Obviously it's enjoyable to listen to music and that kind of stuff, but to kick back and listen to tunes and do whatever you want to do, that just opens a can of worms. I mean, you're there not to listen to music and have a good time. You're there because you did something wrong and you're paying your debt to society. As far as that goes, so if you're gonna listen to music, sure, but it opens a whole a window of everything. That you can go way off on a tangent and talk about a lot of things with that, but it is just the point of listening to music in prison or jail, whatever you are at, is not, I think, something that prisoners should do. I don't think it makes you, it's not like an ape or something like that. You're going to put on a jukebox and a little thing and make him feel good. Like he's going to calm down and, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like, so, you know, listening to music and while you're incarcerated is not, shouldn't be a right. It should be a pleasure, you know. So, and then like you said, who's to say what you're going to listen to? And it's just wide open. That just opens a can of worms, a Pandora's box of all sorts of things about music and incarceration. That it's, I don't know. I don't think you should have the right to listen to music. It's not going to soothe the beast that's inside of your head.
Absolutely, guys. No, please. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. You know, you're locked up for a reason. So you know, it's not Camp Snoopy, if you will.
Right.
And listen to, I gotta listen to music and go barbecue and have a good time out there. That's not why you're locked up.
Guys,
yeah. So you know you're gonna listen to whatever music that it's not psychotropic. It's not gonna change the way you think.
That's a great way of putting it. It's not psychotropic. Yeah, I like how deep you went. You guys both went extremely deep. And in terms of the voting, guys and gals and pals, since Howard finished his topic and David gave us his perspective, we're right now going to see, we get a head start on the votes. Who do you think, of course, who resonated most with you? Was it Howard? Was it Dave? Of course, David gave us his perspective. This was Howard's topic. But who do you think made better points? Who resonated most with you and why? Let's bring in our judges. Let's bring in Joe first. Joe, the floor is yours.
Well, hello. First off, I want to say that I do have criteria to how I am going to be voting briefly. I'm going to say that first thing on my criteria is depth. If you're going to argue with emotion, how deep will you go? Precision, were you concise and were your points neat? And factual, when a subject requires someone to use real-time information, please cite sources and don't grasp for air. Now, from what I saw from this,
and before you delve into this, I do want to say, P.S. 1,000% on what David said. Prison isn't for having a good time. Jacques, thank you for joining us. Tank is tough. Ed, personnel, not. I agree. Tank, you're in prison for a reason. That's according to Ed. There would have to be a designated area for that, says Eric. A lot of great comments here. Will, I disagree with Howard. Okay, I see you there as well with your comment. Will, thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Actually, can I argue that? Or we would rather we not?
I think it's best to get your point of view first, based on the talking points of Howard and David.
So based on the talking points of Howard and David, Howard argued a lot through emotionally regarding that it brings up a way that they're able to deal with their feelings. It helps them deal with their past actions. It's more of a healing. But in that, Phil also talked about rap as being possibly an option for being an issue, referring to it as gangster, which Howard rebutted. This is what I like was that it should rather be looked at the lifestyle or the place where they're in, where this music came from, is a conversation piece rather than a point of contention, and anything can be a perspective less than an overlapping mindset. To that also, Tank, you're arguing for music shouldn't be a right, it should be a pleasure. It could open a Pandora's box of things, and that this isn't Camp Snoopy. You were incarcerated for a reason. I'd like that, but at the same time, like, to say necessarily that it shouldn't necessarily be in there if it's actually something that could deal with those emotions and those inner demons like Howard brought up. That's why I vote for Howard, because it's something that
can be used to curtail that. It's less of a physical threat and more of an extra.
Gotcha. Appreciate you, Joe. Appreciate that as well. Guys, let's get your votes over here. Eric, I vote for David. Based on the idea that there is just too much diversity in music and everyone would need earbuds if we're allowed inside, but it would be better allowed in outside areas. So again, one vote for Team David and Team Phil. We'll have a team name next time. Absolutely. We'll have team names for everybody. That'll be kind of a cool thing. So Team David and Phil, D/P, they get one. All right. Team of Howard and Jacques have one as well. Let's get more of your votes. Yes, Tank is indeed tough. You're 100% right about that. I see, guys, your comments, but let's get your votes. Jacques, I vote for Jacques and Howard.
Not biased. Not biased.
No surprise there.
Thanks, Jacques.
Martin Bazinet, I vote for Howard. Gotcha. Okay, one vote for Howard and Jacques. Of course, Giselle is filling in for Mr. Rougeau tonight. Adolfo, I believe if music would be a part of an educational program, I agree. Thank you for your comment. Let us know who you vote for. Let's just tally this as well. Howard and Jacques have another one. Okay. All right, guys. We'll bring Miranda in a moment. I get all your comments here, guys, but let us know who you're voting for. Antonio, thank you. All right. Let's bring in Miranda and see who she votes for and why.
Hello, everyone. I think this was a great topic, especially regarding, the mental health of prisoners and everything that's up my alley. So I appreciate that was mentioned by Howard.
For those that don't know, Miranda is in the mental health field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Both of you did an amazing job. Thank you for being here, David. It's always nice to see you. I think that there was some good arguments made. David, you said that prison is not supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be thinking about what you did and trying to, I guess, basically live in that, right? You did something wrong. Now you're in prison. Now you have to think about what you did. You have to reap what you sow, basically. And allowing music can open a can of worms where maybe they might want other pleasures as well, or other things that, maybe they shouldn't be having in prison. So that's a really good point. I also like what Howard said as well. Again, like I said, about the mental health aspect of it, because it can be very therapeutic to listen to music, but can also be a slippery slope. Like you were all saying, rap music, certain musics can entice people and make people feel, more anger or more gangster, as you would say. It really depends on the type of music, depends on who's supplying the music, depends where they're listening to the music. There's a lot of things to think about, but I think overall it was very close, but I will go with Howard just because you gave more of a detailed look at it all, and saying how it can help them with resentment, help them with their emotions,
right.
Think about their actions as well. I think the three main criteria for me would be the detail, the organization, and how it resonated. And I feel like that really resonated with me. So, and it was very detailed and organized. So I'll go with Howard.
Appreciate your clarity and depth and detail as well, Miranda. Thank you so much for your vote. Appreciate that. Of course, guys and gals and pals. Hey, look, the way I look at it is if David and Phil are able to get some points here, it's kind of a bonus because this isn't even their topic. That's kind of how I look at it. This was Howard's topic. So essentially, if Dave and Phil can steal a couple of votes, Gloria votes for Howard. Got you there. Okay. We are about to bring in Giselle. And then after that, Phil and Tank will take it away with their topics. And then, guys, we are out of here. We will see who has the most amount of votes and therefore be 1-0 in the standings. Now, remember, these participants are not competing every Wednesday. It's a revolving door. Next week, you'll see a different matchup with different teams, but eventually each team will face each other before we start this playoff round. A lot of fun, guys and gals. And again, thank you to our amazing, incredible sponsor. Not of this show, but I did get permission to show their stuff. Progresso, guys and gals, our new national sponsor. Guys and gals and pals, there's 4 of us, which is perfect. Although to the winner goes the spoils. I do like chicken noodles. So while you guys are signing autographs to the masses, I'll grab this whole thing myself. Guys, Progresso Soup here. They're a great national sponsor. Let's get some more votes. David has my vote. Will, thank you. Appreciate you in the comment section. Okay. I will tally this thing here. If somebody could tally in the back, I would appreciate that, actually. All right. So that's David and Phil have another one. That's 2 for them. Please tally that in the back. Thank you so much. We have another excellent judging. I agree. there is another vote that I want to bring up. Some great comments. A lack of freedom being in jail is the worst life experience that a human may live. It's important to humanize this social misfortune. You guys are entitled to your own opinions. We have more. Howard has my vote, says Ed, but I agree with Tank. You're not in prison to have fun. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that. Antonio votes for Team Howard and Jacques. And then Connor does as well. But then PS votes for David. Howard had great points, but David's counter argument made a lot of sense. My vote is for Mr. Abbott. Appreciate that. All right. So thank you for tallying in the back as well. And the only vote I will not count is where is it? Is this one? I won't count this one, but every other vote I will. Mr. Jacques Rougeau's vote I won't count. But I promise you guys and gals and pals, your comments are really helping us because you're giving so much thought. You're really giving us a lot as well to work with. So thank you. Adolfo, you didn't manifest your vote for Howard. You did now. So thank you. We appreciate that as well. All right, guys. Hey, Giselle's up. Let's bring her up. I believe that there's a topic change, if I'm not mistaken. So again, she's filling in for Jacques, guys. Remember that. Giselle, what are we going with?
Right, because we're both going first, and then we're doing.
Correct.
Okay.
But then I'll put you back. You'll have a few minutes to kind of organize your thoughts. What topic are you selecting, Giselle? Giselle, there's only 3 million people watching us. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
Right.
Of course there are.
Guys, Giselle, one of the smartest people we have here. I know that you didn't expect to even be on, and here you are filling in for Jacques Rougeau. You're doing a fantastic job. Is there one category, I can read them again to you, that you'd like to select? We have so far. You want me to read them again?
Yes.
I'd be glad to. So, guys, here are the categories Giselle can select: philosophy, improv, UFC, music, pro wrestling, Canada's finest, or U.S. historical figures.
I don't really feel like it's fair to change, but there's no way I can do the historical figures topic without any kind of.
Well,
research.
again, yeah, you weren't expected to fill in for Jacques, so that's why you can pick any topic of your choosing. Go ahead. Which topic would you like to select, or which category? Improv. Improv. Okay. How about this, Giselle? How about I'm gonna tie this improv into U.S. history. I'm gonna give you an improv. Guys, this is the comedic portion of the show, some levity. In improv, here's you're going to pick your scene partner, but your scene partner is going to either be Tank or Phil. That's the twist. Okay, let me give you the scenario, and you can go backstage and kind of work it out, okay? So you're going to be portraying a character named Teresa, okay? You're playing a character named Teresa. Now, Giselle, Teresa enjoys talking to strangers about two things and two things only. Richard Nixon and peanut butter. That's it. Those are her two topics. She also has her thumbs up at all times while speaking. She's always speaking with her thumbs up. All right. She's currently walking to the post office. She gets in her elevator, and much to her delight, a stranger walks in, either Tank or Phil. A few moments later, it appears as if the elevator's stuck. Now, Teresa sees this as an opportunity to strike up a conversation about all things Richard Nixon and peanut butter, much to the chagrin of the other individual in the elevator. That is your scene. All right, I'm going to put you backstage. Give it some thought. I'm going to put Howard backstage as well. Again, team Phil and Tank. I got to tell you, considering this wasn't your topic, you guys already have a lot of votes, and I think that's really, really cool. Tank, what did you think about taking that stance, having to go the other way because Howard went one way? Would you have went that way anyway, David, or no?
Yeah, I probably would have went that way. Absolutely. My wife, I think, just said because I've been in trouble.
No, man. Listen, I in my intro, I think people should hear this. You always stood up against bullies. There were people that you saw bullying other people, and you're always there for them. And I think that's pretty cool, man.
Absolutely. The narcissist of this world. I was the anti-narcissist.
Sure.
I always like to float around their little bubble, and sooner or later it got to me, and much to their chagrin.
Yeah, I would say so. That's the understatement of this, the young century we're in. Phil, what do you
Yes,
think
sir.
about this? Without talking about this scene now, again, this scene is meant. It's, on paper, it's very, very silly. But what it does is it stretches the mind. You have to go to places you never thought you'd go because I don't know anybody on Earth, and there might be, but I don't know anybody on Earth whose two hobbies are Richard Nixon and peanut butter. But I never thought we'd hear that sentence ever. But we just put it out there to the ether. So.
Yeah,
What do
I
you
wouldn't
think of that,
expect
Phil?
to hear Richard Nixon and peanut butter used in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Very odd. But then again, I live in New York, so odd is normal.
Well, you know what? Nixon was actually not peanut butter, but he was a fan of cottage cheese when they were during Watergate. This is true. When he was trying to throw out his cabinet, like Spiro Agnew, he was tossing them all out one at a time, hoping that the press would bite, but they wanted his ass. They wanted Nixon's ass. And he was devouring cottage cheese and also watching the movie Patton. George C. Scott, who portrayed Patton.
Yep.
Nixon was watching that thing religiously, like 2 times a day. He was having a midlife crisis. I don't know if you guys know this. That Nixon Watergate trial was kind of like the first reality TV, in a way. They took us inside the court.
Definitely laid the groundwork for what we have now, for sure.
David, are you opposed or in favor of having courtroom trials televised? Do you think they should be televised or not really?
Oh yeah, I used to like to watch court TV back in the day.
Sure.
Way back when was it Ray Caruth?
Oh right.
Way back when.
I heard of him.
I don't know why they took it off, but it's not on anymore.
Yeah, and of course the trial now
court-
that everyone's talking about
court
isn't televised
TV isn't
either.
on.
No, it definitely isn't.
I'd like to see the P. Diddy trial on TV.
Yeah, it's not being televised. Exactly. Yeah. We have sketch artists who are drawing people that don't even look like P. Diddy, by the way. They don't even look like him.
If I may interject quickly, P. Diddy.
Wait a minute. What? Are you rebutting your teammate?
Oh,
you just did one of these.
Oh.
No, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Ron Combs went to the same high school I did. Of course,
Okay.
I was quite a number of years before him.
Right.
But he went to Mount St. Michael.
Oh, did he? Okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mount St. Michael. Yeah. Huh. Small world. And guys, it's going to be a smaller world in the elevator right now. The Teresa.
Oh, yes.
The elevator. This can be a lot of fun. The elevator. Now, first, Giselle, not Teresa. Giselle, who is going to be in that elevator with you eventually when you step inside of it? Who's in that elevator? Is it going to be David Tank Abbott or Phil?
Like Mr. Abbott to be in that elevator.
Mr. Abbott. Now, here, let me give him a little bit of his character. Mr. Abbott is portraying a guy who's just really annoyed and doesn't want to hear about peanut butter and Richard Nixon. Now, you're oblivious to that, Giselle, to his request to stop yapping about those two things. So you're in the elevator. I guess it gets unstuck when I pop in. But right now, guys and gals and pals, Giselle has just stepped into the elevator. I will bid you adieu. The scene will begin. Let me just change her nameplate to
Oh, she
Teresa
just
over
left.
here. Yeah, there she is. She's kind of walking in there. All right, walking in the elevator. Now, we're going to change it up. David's already in the elevator. All right. Now, I'm going to call scene. When you hear me giving you a thud, it means the elevator is stuck. So I'm going to stay here till the thud. 3, 2, you.
I have never been in a post office this big before. Oh my gosh, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of George Washington Carver and all of his uses for peanuts. Do you know he's like the best peanut farmer ever? So not only do we have peanut butter, we have all these other great inventions of peanuts because of Mr. Carver. Oh my gosh, have you seen what you can do with peanut butter these days?
Teresa enters an elevator. David is in there. And thud.
Butter. I'm so excited. Have you ever been in a post office this big? This is like a dream come true. You know what else is a dream come true? Peanut butter sandwiches. Peanut butter sandwiches with anything. Do you like peanut butter? Hey, you know what else I like? Richard Nixon. Have we done a commemorative stamp of Richard Nixon? They probably won't do that at all because he resigned or something and they think he's like gross. But he was pardoned. I mean, come on. How can we not have a stamp of Richard freaking Nixon? He's like one of the most popular presidents ever. Oh my goodness. Well, okay, I don't know about popular, but he's certainly infamous. Everybody knows him. He's so freaking infamous. His head is cryogenically frozen in Futurama. How can you not like a president, at least appreciate a president whose head is cryogenically frozen on an animated series? It's super cool. And he's clearly made an impact because we still talk about him to this day with everything. He had that much influence on society that we still talk about Richard freaking Nixon today. He's got Tricky Dick as a nickname. He's from California. He wasn't only our president. He's super cool. But you know what the only uncool thing about him is? He did not like peanut butter. Well, I don't know if he didn't actually like it. He preferred cottage cheese. He had weird taste. Ketchup. He liked ketchup with that. It was so weird. But peanut butter is the best. Do you like peanut butter? What is your favorite thing to eat with peanut butter? You can have peanut butter and jelly. You can have peanut butter and hazelnut. Nutella's really great. Oh gosh. You can have peanut butter and fudge. Ooh. My grandmother has an award-winning fudge recipe. Award-winning. It won a blue ribbon at my high school. Peanut butter fudge. Award-winning. How can you not like peanut butter fudge? Peanut butter goes on everything. It's a huge source of protein. I don't know why Richard Nixon didn't like it. It's also really cheap. It's cheaper than cashew butter. It's cheaper than almond butter. You know, other countries think that peanut butter is weird. How do you think peanut butter is weird? I wonder if Richard Nixon loved celery. Do you think Richard Nixon loved celery? I mean, I think Richard Nixon loved celery. He had to with all of his other taste. Nixon. Do you think he would have? What do you think he would have done in his second term if he had been elected? Oh gosh, I think about that what if all the time. Wow, that is. Whew.
Hey, this is the repair person. You can hear me right now in your elevator. I know you guys are stuck. Do I have anybody in the elevator right now?
Yeah. There's two of us. I'm so glad you're here.
Hold on. Okay, there's two of you. I heard you. Is there somebody else? I need to hear the other person.
Yeah.
Hold on. I need to hear the other person, Teresa.
Yeah, there's somebody in here.
All right. Well,
I didn't even get your name.
I know. Well, hold on. I think Teresa's not being honest with you, sir. You see, she's dating the elevator person, yours truly, so I know she's in there. If you don't mind, I'm gonna keep in there about another 3 hours or so for my own sanity. Do you mind?
Wait, no. Wait, if you keep me in here, I'm gonna.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk to the other gentleman.
Yes.
Is this okay if I keep her here for another few hours?
No,
you guys have a nice conversation?
You need to hurry up and get the door open.
And with that, scene. Great stuff, guys. Great stuff. Give a round of applause, guys. Good stuff over here. Really good stuff. You guys rocked the house. You guys rocked. Absolutely. Now remember, since there's no way to counter an improv scene, that means that either during Phil or David's topic, there won't be a chance to have an opposing view because you picked improv. So essentially, we're not right now down. There won't be votes for this one. We are down to David Tank Abbott and Phil Justin right now, guys and gals. David Tank Abbott and Phil. Now, David, would you like to go first for UFC, or would you like Phil to go first with music?
Oh wow. Who cares? Let Phil go first.
Phil's going to go first. So funny, says Jacques. Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate that. Yeah, guys, that's the thing. We'll tackle serious topics, but there's going to be some levity in the form of the improvs with some wacky stuff to break the ice. Mr. Phil Justin, I'm going to put Miranda backstage and Joe as well, our wonderful judges tonight who comprise this great panel. And here's the thing. Here's how it's going to work, essentially, guys. Phil's going to go first, but he's going to have Howard and let's change your nameplate, Teresa. Howard and Giselle are going to be between them. And now, Phil, if you want to tag David, your index finger goes up.
Okay.
David will come in and fill in for you if you want to tag him. That's the hot tag. If Giselle or Howard, I called her Teresa again. If Howard or Giselle want to rebut Phil, that same index finger goes up and they will rebut you just like we did in our first topic. Phil, my friend, are you good to go?
Yes, I am.
Okay, guys. In the meantime, I'm going to give David Tank Abbott his topic again so he can kind of, work out the kinks backstage. This is all about the UFC, and the topic for Mr. David Tank Abbott was, please make a case for why you think the UFC was better, competitively speaking, with a heightened focus on the whys. Why was the UFC better competitively in the 90s as opposed to today, present time? And of course, Howard's going to counter that. That's going to be the topic we counter. This one we will not be countering. Phil, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
All right. Mr. Abbott, I'm going to put you backstage for a moment. Thank you, good sir. You need that after being there in the elevator with Teresa. You need a breather right there. I'm exhausted just listening to you, Teresa. No, you did great. Everybody did amazing. Guys, here's the thing. You guys can vote again. You can vote once we have an opposing viewpoint, but that will not be for this topic. That will be for the next topic. So right after Phil, unless Howard and Giselle rebut Phil now, right after Phil, David will come on, and then Howard will counter Tank's topic. Phil, the floor is yours in a 3. And you want me to read the topic? You have music.
Yeah, give me the topic again.
You have music.
refresh.
It's all about advertisements, right? Music and advertisement isn't just background noise. It's an important component. It can shape how we feel about our brand, what we decide to buy. But what happens in an ad that can make your head turns and your ears prick up and your feet stop in their tracks? I'll tell you what could happen. Music strategically either enhancing the brand's message or undermining it. So with that, please make a case as to why ad campaigns can dilute the overall message in a song and thus falsely representing its overall message. The opposing party will go the other way if they choose to rebut, only if they choose to rebut. Phil, the floor is yours in a 3, in a 2, in a...
Thank you. Now, music is the universal language. I don't think anybody could really argue that. And ads, commercials, even radio ads rely on music to get your attention. You're watching a TV show, commercial comes on, well, I'm going to go get my beer. You hear a song you like, a song that perks you up. You start to pay attention to that ad. But does it really represent that product? Now, as a songwriter myself, I write songs, and many these songwriters I particularly care for and are the most talented in my opinion. When they write a song, they're writing about something in their lives, in their psyche, in their heart, their soul. They're telling a story. They're relating a tale. And that story, that tale, that poem, in many instances, is set to music. Now you take this beautiful work of art and use it to promote a product, whatever that product may be. It doesn't represent the meaning of the song. And the meaning of the song may have nothing to do with the product. There's a total disconnect there. All the advertiser is doing is trying to get your attention by using a song that you'll recognize and maybe stop what you're doing to
Howard,
listen to.
the floor is yours.
Yes, sir.
Now, Phil, what was one of the early statements you made right before you started your argument?
I'm sorry?
What was one of the early statements you made before you started your argument? Music is what?
An art.
Before that. It started with you.
That I'm a songwriter?
No. Before that.
Howard, why don't you tell us, my friend?
Sure. No problem.
Come on.
Okay. So you said music is universal.
The universal language. Yes, I said that.
Sure. So if it's universal, that means also perhaps the meaning of the music is also broad. So when you say a particular piece of song doesn't match the particular nature of the product, that's kind of contradicting your first statement. If you're saying that music is universal, that's also implying that the interpretation perhaps is also broad, and it also could be interpreted in different ways.
Yes, it could. However, what I'm discussing is how using songs in advertisements can dilute the meaning of the song. Yes, music is the universal language.
Hey guys, we got some tech issues here. Phil, can you hear us? Put Phil backstage, see if that clears up, guys and gals. All right. We might have lost Phil. So, guys, again, Howard, do you want to sum up your points before Phil comes back here? Well, I think we just got Phil. Phil, can you hear us? Sorry, moving back there. It's still frozen. Go ahead, Howard.
Sure. So the main point I was making is when you say music is universal, to me that means that there's the interpretation of that music, the interpretation of the lyrics could also be pretty universal. It could be subjective. And if you, for example, if you placed where are my dogs at? Let's just take an example, right? Who let the dogs out? Sorry. If you use that song to and you applied it to a car commercial. Yes, we know he's talking about, dogs, but it's a metaphor, right? Perhaps, that song, it's not too far-fetched to say that the energy of that song and the idea of like you're letting something out can also be interpreted in the idea of like you're letting these, awesome, amazing cars out onto the road. So it's really up to how you interpret the lyrics, personal interpretation.
Okay. Guys, we don't have Phil backstage yet. Some tech issues with Phil. So what we're going to do now is we heard Phil. We heard Howard. Again, had Howard, and this is a strategy, had Howard and Giselle not rebutted at all, vote would have went to Phil. He would have gotten all the points. So you have to rebut, right? If there is no opposing viewpoint, that's what the improv topic could do. It could kind of change everything around. Next week, if someone selects improv, then of course there'll be another one, and it'll be kind of fair across the board. We're having a lot of fun here with this new system here, guys and gals, but there's nothing new about your voices and your votes. So let's see right now which way we go. Jacques says, I agree. Some songs are used in a different context. Mm-hmm. Sure, that's true. It can be interpreted in many different ways. Now, because Phil isn't here, I'm going to ask Mr. Abbott. He doesn't have to. He's got his own topic. He's got UFC up here because he's preparing for that. But Mr. Abbott, would you want to fill in for Phil or just tackle your topic next? It's up to you. Completely.
I'd rather just stick because I wasn't
sure.
I wasn't paying too much attention to what was going on.
Sure.
I don't want to start talking.
No, I saw you kind of working out. You were working out the UFC topic. That's okay. Absolutely.
No, yeah. Sure. So I don't want to leave something out that's glaringly obvious, and wasn't paying
100%. 100%. And guys, tech stuff could happen. Giselle?
Yeah, if I may. So I have certainly been guilty of this and recognizing that certain songs don't match certain products or themes or messages, but the artists hold the copyright. Therefore, they have to grant permission for these songs to be used. So they wouldn't grant this permission if they didn't think their song matched the theme of the product. I'm sure some of them might just be doing it for money. I cannot rule that out. I'm not saying that at all, but they do have to grant permission for their songs to be used in this context. And if they have given their permission for the song to be used, then the song or that piece of music must have some kind of benefit, connection, indication with the product or theme of the ad.
Phil? Howard had his viewpoint. No. Howard has a viewpoint. Giselle had hers as well. I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to wrap. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to wrap up any way you'd like, my friend. The floor is yours, Phil.
Okay. Yes, we can interpret songs different ways. And many, many times, songwriters do not want their songs used in advertisements because it does take away from the meaning of the song to them, to the writer, to the person who created it. That's why you see so many artists fighting their record companies not to let their songs be sold for commercial purposes. Some songs fit very well to a particular ad, and okay, if that's what you want. But overall, I think that using a song for commercial purposes dilutes the meaning of that song to the artist. And that's the person I think matters most.
Again, guys, we appreciate this entire panel. Tank, again, getting ready for his UFC topic as he was backstage. That's awesome. Phil presenting his topic as well. This is it. Once Tank is done, we'll tally the final votes and see who's up 1-0. Right now, guys and gals and pals, I'll bring in the judges and see who they vote for and why. But I am going to ask someone tallying in the back, whoever's doing that. We already have a vote here from Eric. I think they're going for Howard. Okay, got that there. Appreciate that. Love Phil's thinking. Jacques also said, I appreciate Tank's honesty so much. Absolutely. I'm going to say this live. Dave, you've become a fast friend, man. The last year or so, it's quality over quantity, man. Every time that we send a message to each other or talk, it's always a positive conversation and it's always upbeat. And I appreciate you for all of that, my friend.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And just me being me,
Well, I like that. I'm glad that you're you, man. Really. Only one you.
Thank you.
And we're glad that you're a part of this, my friend. Guys and gals and pals, you're a part of this as far as your opinions. Who resonated most with you and why? Let's bring in right now Mr. Joe Rositano. Let us know who you vote for and why. Was it Phil Justin or was it Team Howard and Giselle filling in for Jacques? They both rebutted Phil. Go ahead, Joe.
So, Phil, my question to you briefly is, can you give an example of where someone's music was being used in terms of they had to fight for their rights to not be used in a commercial?
The Beatles.
For what specifically?
The whole Beatle catalog.
But I want to know, here's where I'm going to place my vote. So when it comes to mentioning things that are related to factual information, I want to know or have sources cited or at least some relevance related to that. For instance, one of the things that I liked that you mentioned was that advertising, it can dilute the meanings of the songs because it could harm the meaning. But at the same time, where Howard and Giselle won me over is that they said it's basically fine. It just depends on the context of how it's being used, how it's utilized in the commercial. Does it really make an issue? And also,
for instance, there's nothing wrong with a quick commercial or an advertisement for TKN and the Black Box. Because guys, we're at 2,040 live views already. Thank you so much for that. 2,040 live views. Can't wait to see what that produces after the fact. Guys, thanks again. You humble all of us. Between 67 to 75, 76,000 views on Saturday nights for the tournament. 4 million views total. Thank you so much for doing this. 78,000 subscribers in just a year. You're really turning this thing into quite the force. So thank you guys for supporting us. And I support our judges. I support what they have to say. So, Joe, the floor is yours.
And that's where I'm going to be in the stick in the mud. I'm going to say it's an issue because you didn't mention anything else like the 2012 Passat commercial related to them using Rocket Man and just messing up the lyrics. You also didn't mention the Tag Team Geico commercial with the Scoop There It Is, or even bring up Zembic. Like, those are things that I think are good examples of where they take songs about missing your family from far away with Rocket Man, or A Sunny Day and Enjoying Something like Magic by Pilot, or Swoop There It Is. I didn't get that, so that is why my vote goes to Howard and Giselle for this one.
Okay, appreciate that. And Joe, if you could tally that as well, make sure that reflects there. Thank you for tallying in the back. Let's bring in Miranda. And guys, Ed, classy times there. Martin Bazinet, please vote if you can. Bazinet. Let's have classy times vote as well. Eric, I see you there. I see your vote. Okay. I'm going to tally that for Howard. Thank you so much. Antonio, there's a lot of you out there. So many watching. Some are bashful to comment and vote, but vote away. Let us know who you vote for and why. Miranda, please let us know who you vote for and why.
Thank you. So I do have to agree with Joe on some points. I thought that Phil, the argument was good overall, because sometimes, yes, the commercial can misinterpret the song and use it in a different type of way than what it was supposed to be meant for. And that can definitely dilute the song for sure. But then how Howard said earlier is that you stated that music is a universal language. So I think that rebuttal was very good by Howard, because it's true, it can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. And again, Giselle also had a good rebuttal too. It's saying that the copyright and that the artist would have to give permission to have the song used in most cases. So they must think that there is a reasoning for having the song in the commercial, or some kind of like parallel in the commercial to have that in there. So
Phil,
I think those are good rebuttals.
Yeah, the copyright is when I mentioned that a lot of artists fight with their record company. The record company goes to them and says, listen, we have this big deal. We can use this particular song in this particular ad. And the artist doesn't want to do it. They own the copyright. They won't do it. But the record company will fight them. All I was saying was that depending upon the artist, a lot of artists don't want to have their songs commercialized.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of bands fight with their record companies every day. That's why a lot of bands form their own record companies, like Swan Songs, like Apple. So the band has complete control. Quick example, Rush. If we had gone to Canada's Finest, I would have said Rush. Rush is a progressive band. Their songs are generally on the long side. The record company came to them one day and said, listen, you got to write a hit. You need to cut the songs down. Rush said to the record company, no. And they recorded the album 2112. 3/4 of that album is the song 2112. And it sold tremendously. So a lot of times artists, songwriters, record, producers and so forth will have a different view from their record company. And one of the biggest arguments I've seen is when a record company wants to sell a song to a commercial. And many times the artist will not want to do it because it does at times. I'm not
but
speaking.
thankfully they do want to sell to Weird Al Yankovic. That's a good thing. We could all agree on that.
Yeah.
Weird Al Yankovic is definitely a guy
There
to
is something I don't think any of us could argue about.
That would be an honor to have
Weird
like Weird
Al.
Al. Guys, again, I'm going to go to Miranda in a minute, but I want to pull up your comments. She'll make her vote official. Let's see. Willie Wilson votes for Howard. Thank you, Classy Times, for enjoying this. We appreciate you. Love me some Rush, of course, Ed. So do I. Some more. I vote Howard. Excellent points. And I love this from Jacques. I think I got the greatest partner in Howard. I vote for Howard and Giselle.
It's so funny.
Mr. Jacques Rougeau, who's going to be back in this tournament. It's the team challenge. We've never done this before. And guys, again, talking to the streaming services about what's happening on Saturday nights, I got to tell you, it's going to be a big one on Saturday. We have such an incredible match. We got Stan the Lariat Hansen, guys, this Saturday night. We got college basketball Hall of Famer Gene Banks. He's on Saturday night. And ESPN's own, he's on ESPN every day, Woody Page, guys. Woody Page. It's going to be a great second-round matchup. 2 out of 3 will move on Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss out on that incredible matchup. It's going to be great. 2 different topics. And again, 2 out of 3 will advance. You guys drive the car and decide who will move on. I think that's it for the comments as far as votes are concerned. Miranda, if you can give us your vote and make it official, feel free.
Yeah, these are all very good points. And similarly to what Joe said, I do wish that there was more of this in the actual debate where you gave more examples and more of this kind of detailed explanation that you just gave right now. So I'm still going to stick with Howard and Giselle. I really thought the rebuttals were strong.
Appreciate that. And, of course, Joe's going to tally that in the back. Thank you. Jane votes for Phil. Okay. And, guys, it's not over because to wrap up the whole evening is going to be David Tank Abbott with the UFC topic, which I love. Howard, you're not going to rebut during because you have an opposing viewpoint. If Giselle wants to rebut during, she can. So, guys, I'm going to set this up for Mr. Abbott. Let me put Miranda back there. Thank you again for your viewpoints. Appreciate you and how deep and detailed you are. And same with Joe. You guys are doing great. Phil, I'm going to put you backstage. If David wants to give you a tag, he will. All right, guys, let me put this topic up here. Guys, here's the topic. When I conceived this topic, I didn't want to make it. I don't like doing the same old, same old. want to talk about, and this is kind of why I use the word competitively speaking. Tank was there. One of the greatest of all time. A guy who gave it his all, never anything less. He has seen both eras. He's lived through as well. Guys and gals and pals, Howard is going to have an opposing viewpoint. But David Abbott is going to let us know why he thinks the UFC was better, competitively speaking, with a heightened focus on the whys. Why was it better back in the 90s as opposed to today? Howard, when he's finished, you will go the other way and talk about why you think today's era is, competitively speaking, better. Mr. Abbott, my friend, are you ready to go, good sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
The floor is yours.
I know this like the back of my hand.
Yes, sir.
No pun intended. Anyways, there's before and after the UFC, but the UFC basically, I break down into three groups. You have like the Gracie commercial, which was like 1 through 5 when they owned the show, and it was a martial arts, and they were trying to push Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it worked for them. I mean, they got to pick all the fighters that they were going to fight and all that kind of stuff, and they got Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over. They made it popular, and then they ended up selling the show after 5. They owned 1 through 5 to the TV producers. And that's when I came along. And that's when everything changed. And then now that lasted till they basically were going to ban it. And it was going to be taken off the air around 99 with McCain calling it human cockfighting and all that kind of stuff. And then Dana White bought the show with his buddies that owns casinos in Las Vegas. And they made it into what it is now, which is basically a sport now. And you can't really say what's better and what's worse. I mean, it's just different. And today is like a sport that has skills and the ability to apply your skills, talent, and prowess at using your skills to be effective. Whereas from after the Gracie commercials, and it took off in 95, that was more or less when the tough guys showed up to the show. And that's when fighting was fighting, and tenacity and toughness was pretty much what highlighted or was emphasized. Skill and technique really kind of took a back seat to toughness. And so talk about real tough guys and the kind of guys that you see at a party or a street corner or that kind of thing. Those are the guys that were fighting with limited skills. As far as I myself had wrestled my whole life since I was 8 years old. So that was my martial art. And, but I also been in, I guesstimate, over 200 street fights easily. And I applied all of that experience into fighting. And so it wasn't relied on skill like a sport is, like boxing is a skill, jiu-jitsu is a skill. It was more or less who was tough and who wasn't. And now it's kind of all came together, and it's more of a sport, kind of like amateur wrestling with boxing and striking and submission holds. And, you know, if you're talented and you know those skills, that's what you have today. Whereas back when I was fighting, it was more or less of who's mentally a badass and who's got the physical abilities to apply their skills in an actual street fighting or a fighting situation. And therefore, so it's not necessarily better, but by no means are these kids nowadays better. It's not like they reinvented the wheel and they put a new spin on the wheel and, oh, they know jujitsu, you know, big deal. You know, it's been around forever, just like wrestling's been around forever and boxing's been around forever. The street fighters have been around, and these kids that go and take these classes, there were no MMA gyms back when I started UFC 6. None. There was maybe one or two jiu-jitsu gyms in the United States, and it was not what it is today. Like, these kids think they can go out and go to an MMA gym and learn how to be tough, which is not exactly what I would hold my breath hoping for, because that's not what really happens to somebody that I obviously been around tough guys, and I could tell you, I could think of at least 5 guys right now that would never took a MMA class that would take care of some of these skilled fighters. They should all, you know, they started weight classes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, right there, that should disqualify you from being tough if you need a scale to weigh yourself in. I mean, the first guy I fought was 400 plus pounds, you know, so these kids that they fight in weight classes, where were they when I was coming up? I don't want to get into me and all that kind of stuff. That's not a competition. It's just what it was then is where, like they say back, OGs, the original gangsters, the real tough guys, compared to these gym fighters that go to gyms and learn how to do a twist your toe. And then, like jiu-jitsu, there's no pain involved in jiu-jitsu at all. You slap the mat and go, oh. That's why they get their feathers all ruffled up when a real wrestler from college goes in there and throws them around like a rag doll and hurts them. They're all like, oh, you can't do that. And kind of pussified the whole idea of today, maybe 10 people could fight in the UFC back when I was fighting, because there's weight classes now and all these little small fries are fighting that wouldn't even have a chance to even step into the cage back in the day, because they would get demolished by just about any of those guys back in those days. And so, is one tougher than the other? Maybe the mentality of being tough, just kind of like they say, you know, if you were born and raised in the 70s and 80s compared to the kids that are growing up nowadays are a little bit different. So yeah, they're tough, but it's not the same. It's different, but it's not the same. And I'm a little bit different than anybody that's ever fought in the UFC, so it's hard to plug myself into it. But just generally, in general, as a whole, it's like a sport now. And back when I was fighting, it was a way of life, of being a warrior and carrying yourself the right way. That's I'm sure I can rebut anything that comes up.
Yeah, no, that's so well said. The fights were shorter.
Yes.
And I think that's what made it so raw, as you mentioned, because it was called the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So I think of the word fight. And guys, I'm not
Yes.
giving my opinion here because let's see how Howard goes. But when we're talking about yesteryear and you thought of MMA, you were thinking of no holds barred. You were thinking of not having any limitations being placed on a particular style, where the barroom brawler can have just as much of an opportunity to win without logistics getting in the way or semantics. It was much more diversified. And again, Howard might disagree with us. He will. He could change your mind. Maybe he'll change Tank's. I don't know if that'll happen. Now, Tank could also rebut you, Howard, while you're speaking. He could do that. So, Howard, as per the rules, and guys, let's take a moment and realize what we've talked about today. See, you probably all thought, and some of the viewers, that when I had music as a category, we'd go the traditional route. No, we're talking about music in prisons. You probably thought when we, did an improv, it would be something that maybe it was one-dimensional. Instead, we had someone who was a Richard Nixon and peanut butter fan stuck in an elevator. So pound for pound, you not know what you're going to get over here, but you'll get a different spin on things. It'll make you think, and that's kind of what I want. I want to provoke as much thought as possible. And these incredible participants, they can attest to this if they want to say it verbally or a head nod or a head shake. You guys had no idea what these categories were going to be or topics tonight. You had no clue what we were doing tonight at all. So give it up to everybody on screen and to those backstage as well, like Phil. I mean, God almighty, this was not something that they knew coming in. And you still haven't heard Canada's finest yet. So there's that. But guys, Howard Coletto is now going to make a case. Tank can rebut if he wants. Howard, please, if you can, make a case for why you think the UFC today, present day UFC, competitively speaking, in your opinion, is better with a heightened focus on the whys. Howard, the floor is yours. In a 3, in a 2, in a U.
All right. Well, first and foremost, you said something really that does actually just resonate as well with me, David. You said fighting was fighting back then. And I am by no means going to pretend to be a big, I took some boxing classes and that was it. So that said, and there's also something to be said about the grit that takes and that demands. And what is grit? And something that comes from a very visceral, raw place. And it seems to me,
I just say it's just kind of funny when I do this. Like when I go backstage, Howard, when I go backstage and I look at the flyer, your flyer in the back, it looks like you have a conjoined twin on your.
I'm just gonna look at him. Oh man,
that conjoined twin looks like he's judging you.
It does. He's like, come on, what are you doing? Come on. But yes, and there's something awesome to be said about those fighters who are just coming from a very visceral place and skill kind of took the back seat, and it was about the fight, and it was about being present, and about just going in and just going for it. That said, I will say that the UFC as it is now, the argument is, I guess, do you want more diversity in your fighters, or do you want fighters just coming from different, I guess, why, you argued about different weight classes. Yes, that is very awesome and interesting. I mean, if I see a guy who's about 100, let's just say me, right? $140, right? I'm going up against a guy who's about, 200. I want to see that fight. I know I personally would. However, what are the repercussions of that particular fight? And which gets, I guess, my main point that back then, if I'm not mistaken, groin shots and headbutts were allowed, and not so much now. There's more protective gear. So the argument I'm making is that while the fight, the UFC back in the day was raw and very visceral, and the fights were probably exciting, I feel like that was at the expense of the health of the fighter. Now there's more things more rules put in place that also protects the fighter from himself, so he could have more longevity in his career. You know, and if you have more longevity in your career, there's more opportunities like endorsements. I believe that's one of the things that I would think.
Tank, anything to that, my friend?
Yeah, sure. But see, it has nothing to do with it. I mean, who cares? You get hurt, you get hurt. You know how many fights I fought hurt? One time I couldn't even walk. I went in there and fought. And they threw a 300+ pound guy in there and said, guess what? You're going to fight him. I'm like, I can't even walk right now. But doesn't matter if you're going to get hurt. It's be a big boy and get out there and fight. It's not about that. If that's what it's about to you, don't fight. If you're going to go out and it's like you said, bringing up boxing. Back in the day, before the UFC and all this kind of stuff, there was a little thing like Tyson was coming out. He was hitting big on pay-per-views and all that kind of stuff. And I was in the boxing gym at that time. And after a fight, all these guys would come in to fight. But once you start sparring, it's a whole different, you never see him again. That was the last, okay, you hit the bag for 2 weeks, now you're going to spar with somebody at your level. And they get punched in the face and they go, hey, this wasn't what I thought I was in for. You got this, screw this, I'm not going to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu it's a candy-ass martial art where you can tap the mat and go, oh, stop, you're hurting me. You're in the pain game, man. That's what it's all about. It's not about being nice. You're trying to get, especially if you're fighting in the street, I'm trying to kill you, or at least I get to the point where I can make the decision to kill you. Mm. And that's my mindset. With me and you are going to fight. It's on. And guess what? I'm going to get to the point, and you better hope I'm in a good mood, or I'm going to kill you. And because that's what they're trying to do to me. Yeah. You have to think that way. And so sitting here and going, oh, well, I'm going to do this, just like you said you were going to do boxing, till you got punched and you said, oh, screw this, I'm not going to do this anymore. This hurts. Mm-hmm. Same thing with fighting. That's the pain game, man. That's what it's all about, hurting somebody. So if you're not into to hurt somebody, go do jiu-jitsu. There's no pain in that. You go do jiu-jitsu. That's easy. But just don't go walking around the street thinking you're tough and you're gonna take somebody down and twist their toe and they're gonna slap the cement and go, oh, sorry. No, you're gonna get hurt, especially if you make me mad.
I wish Tank Abbott was with me in some of my day-to-day meetings. That's all. I wish Tank could just kind of appear and say what he just said to some of the people I have meetings with. I'm talking to the suits and ties out west.
Well,
oh my gosh.
And like I said, I'm not like the average.
I know.
I'm by far I'm at the top of the heap when it comes to like actually being a warrior and live by the sword, die by the sword. I mean, I literally was in jail for beating up somebody, and a year and 2 weeks later, I was fighting on TV and knocking out a 400-pound Samoan, and the whole world thinking I was great. That's how weird this world is in this life of mine. And I was just like, what? A year and 2 weeks ago, I was sitting behind bars talking about listening to music.
Sure.
It was about TV, but you could never watch the channels you wanted to watch.
And you bring this up because like back in the 90s, think of the rules that were entered and then that were changed along the way. Like back then,
it was because of me.
There were no fish hooks back then, right, Tank?
Yeah, I was ripping this guy's face off.
Right.
With a fish hook.
Yeah. And then they changed that. And I say that because, again, you brought such a raw, if you want to, obviously when people look at Tank Abbott, they assumed here's a guy that didn't didn't have the qualifications of a Gracie, but you had technique. You wrestled before.
I wrestled my whole life.
You wrestled your whole life.
Yeah, and then I've been in 200 plus street fights, and talk about that's where you get down. And and then all these rules.
Don't you think, David, that like essentially when it started up, don't you think it was just a showcase for Gracie Jiu-Jitsu? I think it was kind of a showcase for that.
Exactly, 1 through 5. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then I went there on their 5th show, and I went into the cocktail party afterwards. I went there, a sponsor sent me. I was so young and crazy. And I went across the street to a bar, and I could pretty much command a whole bar. Like,
sure.
I was like the head of having fun. Everybody's woohoo! And so we all went to the show. The whole bar left with me and went to the show and watched a show. And they're all like going, "This sucks. This is boring." They're just rolling around the mat trying to do what, to the uneducated mind, they're trying to do leg locks and all that kind of stuff. I went back to the cocktail party, and they were all walking around. All the martial artists, like they think they're King Kong walking around because that was hitting back in those days. And I like, "What'd you think about the show?" I go, "You guys are a bunch of pussies, man." And they got all pissed off.
Right.
And then I had to turn up the volume even more. And they got Jim Brown, the football player.
Right, sure.
And he was trying to intimidate me because he comes he comes walking up with his thing. And
wow.
And he told me to mellow out, and I said, "Oh, okay." So I took his beret off that he had. Those little beret things he used to wear.
Yeah.
I totally disrespected him, but he was disrespecting me. So that's at least the way I was young and crazy.
No, of course. And like, that's the thing. You were kind of sold on this. You were sold on this original UFC where if you think of every type of strike, apart from eye gouging that's allowed, that would speak to somebody regardless of their style. You walked into it not changing or adapting, and I think a lot of people had to adapt to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I told them all that I was going to beat him up, and then I ended up taking his hat off.
Right.
And I started walking off with it, and he's yelling at me. So I turned around, and I flipped it like a frisbee into his chest.
Oh my gosh.
They all freaked out on me. They all said, "Oh my God, this guy's crazy." And so they kicked me out of the show before I even got into it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well,
that's part, but David, here's the thing. Part of the objective, the objective is to win the match. The super objective is to become the best ever. And sometimes there are psychological tactics. Sometimes people can't handle the fight before the fight. And I think that's you are the reason why when I watched UFC early on, I was both entertained by the pomp and circumstance of it, but it wasn't anything fraudulent. It was a guy walking in saying, "Hey, I'm coming in here to kick ass."
That's exactly right.
That's what I signed up for.
And all these guys, they got the 400-pound Samoan, the martial art people, the bad guys, as I call them, and you know why I'd call them that. The bad guys all were conspiring to keep me down.
Sure.
And so I took care of him rather quickly. He was like 408 pounds, I think he was. And they all just had a heart attack. Like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do now? This guy's taking over the show."
Sure.
And
no, Dan Severn is a good friend of ours. He's part of the celebrity tournament on Saturdays too. Dan Severn, and he
was sitting next to me at the WrestleCon.
Right. I think he was there with I'm trying to remember his name.
Fry.
Yes.
Don Fry.
Don Fry. Another legend. Guys, Dan Severn, the way he speaks about you with utter, I know all the guys speak about you with such respect and reverence. And guys and gals and pals, right now, I know you guys respect everyone on the panel. Tank Abbott, Howard Collado. Let's bring everybody in because we're about to end the show. Joe and Miranda are going to vote. We're going to find out who is 1-0 in the standings right now. Will it be Team Tank and Phil? Will it be Team Howard and Jacques? Jacques being represented by Giselle. Joe, let's bring you in. Miranda, let's bring you in. Phil, let's bring you in. Miranda, we'll start with you this time. Who do you vote for on this topic and why?
Another amazing topic and very good points from both of you. I heard everything Tank had to say, about how it was different in the 90s and how there was more strength and more toughness against competitors. And that's the name of the game, right? It's UFC. So when you go in, you prepare for a fight. And that's how it's supposed to be. Nowadays, I know a lot of people have restrictions on things, and a lot of people are more concerned about health and about semantics, basically. I feel like it's semantics. And Howard made some good points that, yes, it can preserve the fighter for a longevity in the sport as well. So that is a good thing. However, overall, I will go with David Abbott on this one because, like I said, I feel like it is the name of the game, UFC. If you don't want to get hurt, if you're trying to avoid that overall, then maybe that is not the place for you.
Guys, we implore you to vote in the comment section now. We need your votes. You guys have been amazing. 2,257 watching live. Thank you. We're kind of tallying this thing here as we speak here. Thank you again. Hey, we're going to turn over to Joe Rositano, who is going to have his vote and break it down the way that he does. The floor is yours.
Well, for this one, as I resonate and use, is it factual? Is it emotional depth? Well, this one actually, what I liked about Howard's argument was that he took a more factual, to some extent, argument relating that there are points where things are streamlined and that there's less of a possibility of major hurt. But at the same time, Tank, overall, you're bringing up not only the era, the three eras that they had, the Grace commercial, you have when the TV producers took over, and then you got the Dana White period. But from what I'm seeing is that your overall point is that if you're going to actually enter into this, why are you entering into this if you don't want to get hurt? It's called a UFC fight for a reason. You're fighting other people. So I resonated more with that. And then on top of that, talking about you needed to actually be a physically and mentally tough person already. You can't just learn this toughness in the gym. That's not how this happens. So I vote for you.
Don't call it a comeback, guys, but I will call it a comeback because before Tank spoke and presented, and as you see, we're pulling up all the votes to count this thing here, it was 13-5. I'm not counting all the votes, guys. It could take a while, but I'm going to count the ones I see. 13-5 is where it stood. Then 6, 7, 3 votes in the comment section, 2 more. It's now 13-12. They're down by 1. Eric votes for Dave based on his factual alignment. Jacques votes for Tank. Ed votes for Tank. Antonio now ties it up. I have to go with Tank's expertise and experience. This thing is tied. The winner gets the first victory in the inaugural show that we hope our streaming service really likes. Look at this. Jane Doughboy, 2002, votes for Tank. Guys, Tank and Phil are now in the lead. They're up 14-13 in the votes. We're pulling all of these up as well. This is absolutely incredible. Tank, you got to tell me something, man. Phil as well, jump in here. Pretty cool to see that comeback, right? As it's trickling down.
Absolutely.
Look at this. This is awesome.
This is, never count them out.
Oh, look at this. 2 more. PS votes Tank. Classy Times votes Tank. Jane, I vote for Tank. He was awesome. More stuff. Jacques, you had a nice word to say about Tank. A lot of nice words here. I love this guy, Tank, so much, says Jacques Rougeau. Yeah, I knew that you would because you guys are both honest people who are direct. That speaks to me, too. David Willie Wilson say, yes, my vote. I'm going to count this thing down and hopefully get a reaction from Phil and David. And Jacques right now can't be happy in the comment section. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and a 4, and a 3, and a 2, and a 1. Sitting atop the standings right now in the inaugural Black Box Team Challenge are David Tank Abbott, UFC legend and author, amazing author as well, 3 books, and Phil Justin are now up 1-0. Good job, guys. Amazing stuff. Absolutely. Giselle, David, Phil, before I let David go, David, anything you want to let, we're going to keep you on with Phil and myself. Anything you want to let Giselle, Howard, Miranda, or Joe know? Dave, the floor is yours.
Oh man, everything's going good, and I don't have anything to blow out there. Oh yeah, I got a I'm not too. My wife knows about it. I'm going to be in a Hall of Fame.
Oh wow!
In Iowa, what's that thing called, Barry? The Hall of Fame thing.
The Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, I think.
The Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Iowa.
Dan Gable, the Dan Gable.
Awesome.
Yeah, yes. Nice. All right.
Bravo.
Congrats.
Oh, that's well deserved, man.
I would
Yes.
have never thought that I would ever be in a Hall of Fame for wrestling, ever.
Well, you know what,
But
Dave? I got to
that's
tell you
cool.
something really
Yeah,
cool.
it's cool.
When we think of the monikers, and I talk to the old suits and ties in the meetings that I have every day, they always ask about, you know, the resumes and the prestige. Now we have 149 Hall of Famers and award winners in this tournament. So that's awesome stuff, my friend. No, really cool, man. Well deserved. Joe, I'm going to put you in the back. Howard in the back. Giselle in the back. Miranda as well. Thank you guys for being who you are and what you did. Tank, anything you want to let Phil know? He's your partner for the duration of this thing.
I'll just lay your ears back and keep going. The left foot in front of the right, man. We'll take care of it.
That's it. You pulled my butt out of the fire. This one.
Oh well, I'm sure you'll be doing the same for me. All right, so
I'll be there for you. No doubt about
we're
that,
a team,
brother.
man. Right on.
Absolutely, man. Phil, I'll put you backstage. David, man, I want to tell you eye to eye. Take these things off. Don't need them anymore. You, my friend, are so awesome to hang out with. I look at this as us hanging out, having a cool time, kind of exploring topics in a different way that isn't the same old, same old. Does that kind of speak to you, doing it in a different way, David?
Yeah, no, it's all the same to me, man. As long as there's contact and everything, you know, goes along good, and there's no misunderstandings or anything like that, everything's good.
Well, what I'm saying is, do you like the unique approach about the show where it's not the same old, same old?
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. My wife's in the background. I do.
I appreciate that. I definitely do. I love it when you said you're going to do this. I love how you're like, man, I'm in. That sounds like fun. Let's do it. Let's rock. At this point in your life, having fun should be a priority, David.
Yeah, you know, everything comes into focus when you're walking that tightrope. You know, you never know.
Well, my friend, thank you for the education tonight. Congrats on the win, and I will talk to you very soon.
All right, take care.
You too. Thank you as well. Thank you, guys. David Tank Abbott. What a great conversation we had about UFC, about music and prisons. But then again, guys and gals and pals, the conversation went everywhere. We had some fun with the improv as well. A very different show. You're not going to get the same thing twice. I guarantee you that. And Dave, if you hear me, man, again, you're such a class act. I appreciate our friendship. I appreciate what you bring to the table as a human being. That's from the heart, bro. And I really appreciate you for being who you are consistently. It means a lot to me. And thank you again for honoring my pop the way you always do, man. You have such a kind heart. Guys, I'm going to bring in Phil and the gang right now. Miranda's got an announcement to make. Let's bring in Giselle, Howard, Joe. Hey, Phil, good stuff. You got a great partner in David Tank Abbott. This was night number 1, the inaugural night of this thing. Adolfo says, Tank, he is right. This sport is for fighting. Absolutely. Congrats, Tank, from Adolfo Diaz. Such an amazing night. Thank you. Good night, Dave, from Eric. 100%. Miranda in the comment section there as well as Howard. David, absolutely. Guys, great night. Good stuff. Miranda, you now are going to let us know which match you're changing as far as the Green Room tournament is concerned. I should call it the TKN Celebrity Tournament featuring Green Roomers in round number 2. You can now change and alter any match that features any Green Roomer. As of now, we've got Joe Rizart and Hauser in that matchup. We've got Phil Justin and yourself. We have myself and Megan officially in our matchup. See if that changes or not, but that is officially how it's slated. And then we also have Howard Collado and JW. They have yet to go up. So go ahead. If I'm leaving anybody out, let me know. Of all the second rounders, all the Green Roomers.
Yes.
Which match are you changing and why?
So this was a really this, I can't even speak because it was such a tough decision. It was such a tough decision. I didn't want to touch my match with Phil because I have a bone to pick with Phil. So
okay,
I'm looking forward to that for sure, and to getting my revenge on that. So that's definitely still happening. I'm confident with that.
Okay.
I think, Howard and JW have things that they need to resolve as well in their match. So I don't think that match should be changed. And I'm looking forward to seeing that as well.
Okay.
I'm going with more of a fun. Well, I think it would be fun to see this fun route. I think the remaining Green Rumors, you, Gina, Hauser, Joe, I think that should be a 4-way matchup.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I think that
all four of us in a match. Okay.
Yes,
All
I think that
four
would
of
be
us in
super
one
interesting.
match. 3 out of 4 move on.
Yes,
I like it. I like it. I
I
like
thought
it. I
that would
like
be
the way
very
your mind works, Miranda. You heard it from Miranda. Guys, before we duck out, here's the flyer for Saturday night's show. More on this breaking news. Check out our pages. We're going to go live. And, of course, this Saturday night, check this thing out. We got legendary ESPN analyst Woody Page, who's getting Lifetime Achievement Awards. He just wrapped up Around the Horn after 22 years. The guy's a journalist. He grew up around Elvis Presley and befriended him. He grew up around Aretha Franklin. He's been everywhere. Woody Page. How about WWE Hall of Famer Stan Hansen and longtime friend of mine and this network for about 4 years in a row? Stan Hansen's going to be here in round number 2. And college basketball Hall of Famer and NBA great Gene Banks. 2 out of 3 will move on. That's the big tournament on Saturday. Hey, Tank is already part of round number 3 of this tournament. Tank's already in round 3 of this tournament. That's the big one, 15 grand and a trip for 2 to Greece. But who will advance in this trio of legends? Which ones will advance? You guys will vote, as always, this Saturday night, May the 24th, 2025, Memorial Day weekend. Spend it with us if you can. For Tank Abbott, a dear friend, an intellect, and a humble human being. For Jacques Rougeau, who's a legendary wrestler and a legendary human with a big old heart. For Phil Justin, who I've known for 20-plus years, and 20 more, I hope. For Howard Collado, same can be said about him. A man who, again, has been here since day number 1. Joe Risitano, who brings his intellect and analysis to every show that he does. Miranda, who helps people every day with mental health. That's her profession. And Giselle, who somehow introduced us to a really wacky human being in an elevator talking about peanut butter and Richard Nixon. Giselle, who teaches our youth, is a great fight choreographer. I'm Avi Klein. We're out. Thank you for tonight. We will see you next Wednesday and this Saturday night.